Wake up, wake up, wake up. It is that time. It is that time. That's right. I know it is way too early for a Friday, but I don't care. Get up. I'm awake. You need to be awake too. Let's go. I haven't seen you guys in 7 days, and I'm emotional about it, man. I missed y'all. I mean, singing Tony Braxton. 7 whole days without a word from you. Nah, man, let's go. Party started. Let's check out the chat. What's up? See who's up in here. Carlos, you are where you need to be. Excellent. Excellent. Eric Eccles, my man. This almost makes up for you not coming downstairs to join me at HomeGymCon last Friday. But you know what? We're good. You've been giving me vital information in the Instagram DMs about TIN, so you're good. You're okay. All right. So once again, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to do the thing that I always ask you guys to do. If you are watching this, even if you watch this on replay, please hit that like button. Hit subscribe for me. I'm trying to reach 50,000 subscribers. I need your help to get there. We're building momentum. We can't slow this thing down. If you've already subscribed, go ahead and hit like. And then I need you to share this video with somebody else. And over the course of the video, if you hear something that you want to respond to or whatever, drop your comments either in the live chat or in the comment section if you're watching on replay, and we will go ahead and answer those. Today, let me tell you what's going on. So first of all, got my guy Carlos Brown is going to be rejoining us. Carlos is back with another set of movie recommendations for you to watch while you are on the treadmill. Basically, take your mind off of the fact that you're doing cardio. And then we're going to do news and other things after that. Also, the Friday dance party will return next week. So Friday, May 17th. I believe that's next week. I said Friday, May 17th, but I don't feel like that's right. That feels like that's way too. Friday, May 10th. There we go. Yeah, it's way too far ahead. Friday, May 10th, the Friday dance party will return. So get your dance moves together. Tag Garage Gym Life on Instagram in your video. Remember, rhythm is not a requirement, but enthusiasm is. So I need you guys to go ahead and start tagging me on that because we want this thing to be a success. All right. My guy, Jonathan, what's up, my man? You got a name drop from Mike from Hybrid Resistance channel. I was just checking out his video on the Rep X Pepin prototype, and he happened to mention you. So there you go. Jonathan is a legend for many, many reasons. All right. Once again, you guys can still donate to support Hope Kids. And so we're going to do news and other things, and that includes that. We have a new Recliner of Rage segment. I'm back, revitalized from HomeGymCon and mad about something else. All right. Also, if we have time, I got another 2 episodes of Tales from My Inbox, since y'all like laughing at my pain. I'm going to give you a, let's see here. At 7:05, Nick Nilsson is joining the show, and I'm going to give you guys, a chance to ask him questions. Nick is called the Mad Scientist of Muscle. What I really like about his YouTube channel and his Instagram is he, most of us, when we have some sort of issue, like I can't work this or whatever, I can't train this because I don't have this machine. A lot of us will try to DIY the machine. Nick figures out a way to use what he already has to get that same training effect. So he really, like, some of the stuff he comes up with, you're like, how'd you even think of that? And so I'm excited for you guys to get a chance to hear from him firsthand, ask him your questions. I've also got another home gym channel you've never heard of to recommend. And then at 8:05, Jake Jaworski is going to be joining the show, giving us a preview. Well, he's going to give us a recap of HomeGymCon from this year, but then he's going to give us a little sneak peek into HomeGymCon 2025. He's got the venue already selected, so I can't wait to hear from him about that. And then after all that, I'm going to give you a quick recap, like a snapshot of my HomeGymCon weekend. I'm bringing out a full vlog of it, but I'll give you guys a sneak peek as my way of saying thank you for waking up with me. That way you guys can laugh at my pain once again. All right? Laugh at my pain and hopefully enjoy it. So let's see here. Anyway, so that is all we got. And then we're going to be moving on now. So it is now time. Carlos, are you prepared? And I'm going to say the answer to that is no, because I don't see you in the backstage. So once again, I just got off the phone with Carlos too. I just got off the phone with Carlos, and I was like, Carlos is going through it. Y'all will hear a little bit about it, but I just got off the phone with him and say, hey, man, do you want to push your segment till next week? He got emotional with me. He went to a dark place. No, I've worked too hard for this. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. All right. So I calmed him down and he said he's going to be here. All right. But guess where he ain't? That's right. Here. He ain't where he's supposed to be. He is in the live chat with y'all once again. The dude is never where okay. In fairness, Carlos isn't supposed to come on until 6:07, and it is currently 6:06. All right. No problem. All right, Carlos. You've got 58 seconds to join the dang show. I don't see you backstage. So, yeah, there we go. Carlos Brown, come on down. All right, I'll fill for time and cover for you by reading the chat. All right, Eric Echo says, good morning, Vietnam. Man, that's one of the best movies ever, man. I love that movie. I loved it, especially like in the beginning when the guy's giving him like all these music recommendations. He's like, yeah. Then he throws everything away and it just starts yelling. I was like, oh, yeah. He's like, my spirit animal. Rest in peace to Robin Williams. Carlos is excited about the Recliner of Rage. Yoga Bear says, No Fate is a legend. Man, yes, he is. If you don't know, now you know. No Fate 24/7. That means all of the time. All right. He says, no face. Jonathan says, I am that old. Whatever. You a spring chicken. Carlos claims that he is here. Carlos, here's the thing. You're not okay. Define here because okay, prepositionally, here is wherever you are. Yes, but you're not in the studio because I can't see you. That's the thing you don't understand. Like, I can see who's ready to go. It cues you up. I see you, and I don't see you, Carlos. I don't see you. All right. He says, I'm here, Carlos. I don't see you. All right. Okay. I'll tell you what. Here's what I'll do, Carlos. I'm gonna send this junk to you again. All right. Check your email. Give me a second. I'm gonna send it to you one more time. All right. Oh boy, with your weird email address. There's gonna be no subject. It's just gonna be a link. All right. So it's just a link to send it to you. I just sent it to you. All right, Carlos. I just sent you the link. Now let's go. All right, so let's see. Said you guys should check out the Freak Athlete Nordic Hyper. It's awesome. Thanks to No Fate, I got it. To be honest with you, I've got a glute ham raise that I use. And I've had it for years. So I'm not really All right, so Carlos has texted me to protest. Oh, yeah. There you go, Carlos. He's sending me screenshots showing he's here, but guess where he ain't? You can't trick me, Carlos. I'm looking at I know where you bees. I bet you. Anyway, so I've got I'll go ahead. I'll add you to the stage in a second, Carlos. I had to wait on you. You get to wait on me. I'm answering a question. So I have a glute ham raise. It's the original floor glute ham raise. So that pretty much does my posterior chain stuff. And then I'm pretty satisfied with it. I think I've had that thing since like 2018. And then if I don't really do reverse hyper stuff, I do other exercises to address that same issue. It looks like a good piece of gear. I just don't have any need for it personally. So if there's enough interest, I mean, there's tons of people already reviewing it, and I'm not one of those people that review stuff because other people are reviewing it. I don't think that that's I don't like following the crowd. Let's just say it like that. But I appreciate the recommendation. And if I put it like this, if Jonathan says it's a good piece of equipment, I trust his judgment. And that's good enough for me. Jay Scale says no fate stay still here. Jonathan, if you are watching, I need you to jump in the chat, say what's up to Jay Scales, because he says he's a huge fan. He's a huge fan of you. Tattoo saying Matt Welch, good morning to the USA. Matt, my man, I appreciate you for being here, man. And you may have heard me say that the dance party will be back next week, and that is when the video you sent me will be added to it. I've already downloaded it and it's ready to go. I'm just waiting on I'm just waiting for other people to send their videos in. All right, Jay Skill said, let me hop on the stream. I can show my gym. I appreciate that, my man. But this is this morning show is a little bit. We got an actual schedule. It's not quite as free flowing as that. I do want to have a call-in segment so that people could come in, but I have to have like some strict control over the people that I let on, because there's like a whole list of do's and don'ts. You know, like for example, no profanity, that kind of thing. Because we have people who watch this or who listen to this while they're taking their kids to school and stuff like that. So I kind of like to vet people, and then I like to vet like people's internet and all that. There's a thing I send out to you guys. With all that being said, we're going to jump into the first segment, and that is going to be Carlos's, what we call it, fitness movie reviews. All right, so here we go. Our first guest. Show your love for Carlos Brown.
What? I'm here. What?
Hello, Carlos.
Good morning.
What's up, man? It sounds like you got the pre-workout that you were looking for.
Yeah. It's in there.
It's in
God,
there. Okay. I see. Now, I'm gonna be that science nerd. You know that the pre-workouts don't actually kick in for like an hour after you drink them. So you're like, man, that's just how digestion works.
This crap is working. Trust me.
It's working. Okay. All right.
I feel like I got punched in the face with like a sponge full of ants.
So, what's going on? What's going on at your house? Actually, I withdraw the question. I withdraw the question. I just withdraw the freaking question, Carlos. You're always off the reservation with your dang. All right, so Carlos Brown is a movie reviewer. Carlos goes to the movies all the dang time. Probably like, how often do you go to the movies, Carlos? A couple times a week, right?
Maybe, yeah, 2 to 3 times a week. Yeah,
2 to 3 times a week. That's crazy.
Oh, shoot, a couple of weeks ago, it was actually like it was 5. So go figure.
5 this past week?
2 weeks ago. Yeah,
2 weeks ago.
Monday through Friday. Yeah, it was a freaking.
You went to the movies every day.
Every day.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Carlos does reviews of this stuff, and that's how he got onto the show, because once a month, Carlos comes on and gives us recommendations for movies that you can watch on the treadmill. So here's the criteria. It's got to be a movie I can watch on the treadmill. Number 1, hold on a second. This needs to be no subtitles, no closed caption, no subtitles. If I'm on the treadmill, I'm not trying to read. Okay.
Take that off the list.
All right. I'm not trying to read anything, because I got to look down, look up, especially if it's a movie that's in a different language, because then if I look down and I look up while they're talking, I won't have any idea what's going on, because I can't read subtitles while I'm looking down the treadmill or checking how many steps I've had. So no subtitles, no foreign language movies. And those are really it can't be something that's gotta I gotta concentrate too hard on, because again, I'm on the treadmill, but it's gotta be good. All right, Carlos, let's recap your recommendation from last month. Just to review, you said I should watch Roadhouse.
Hey, come on.
It sucked, just like I said it was going to suck. Everybody said it was going to suck, and it sucked.
Exactly.
What do you mean
But see,
exactly?
it's
You
one of the,
said you should watch
it's just
Roadhouse.
it's so the thing about it is obviously it's not the one that you remember. As I just bought that one recently just to have it. But it's a parody of itself. I'm telling you, it's so bad that you just got to sit back and laugh at it. That's the entertainment part. I mean, yeah, it's just that bad.
No, it
You,
was just
yes,
bad. There was no redeeming value from when Post Malone was throwing those awkward kicks. I was like, what is up with him? And they said, oh, he was the anyway. That's hard. All right, look, public service announcement. Do not watch Roadhouse. The Jake Gyllenhaal Roadhouse. Do not watch that. I'd rather
if you
watch.
want to laugh, watch it.
You ain't gonna laugh. You might cry. You'll be emotional. You might throw some at your TV.
Uh,
All right. So
uh,
I would rather watch the Patrick Swayze version backwards
wow.
than watch that Jake Gyllenhaal. Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Hurt,
All
don't
right.
pain. Is that what you're telling me? Hurt, don't pain.
I'm just telling you, man. I would rather do that than watch this ever again. So now we're gonna give you a chance to redeem yourself. We got 2 more recommendations. All right. First of all, Jay Scales gave us a recommendation. He said John Wick 4. That is a movie that has come up before, as far as a good movie to watch on the treadmill. I'm gonna go ahead. I even want to see Ballerina. I don't think I'm gonna watch it on the treadmill, but I want to see Ballerina.
Yeah.
I like the John Wick series. Personally, I like John Wick, the first one. Okay, I think that's the best one. But I could watch all of them, especially on the treadmill. Like, oh, okay, he does this thing.
Yeah.
Then let's see. Tattooed Saying says Kung Pao is easily the best gym movie. No cap.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Okay. Hey. Look, you made me watch Roadhouse. I feel like you should actually put a 1 in the chat if you think Carlos should have to watch Kung Pao for making me watch Roadhouse. Y'all go ahead and put 1 in the chat.
Oh, hold on. Oh, it's like that. Oh, shoot.
I started 1. All right. Let's see here. All right. So here we go. Redeem yourself. What is a movie that is underrated as a treadmill movie?
Oh, so you know what? I did do a list. I could give you a full backstory about the crap that just went down this
or you could just tell me the
week,
name of the movie.
Or I could do that. So I actually had to compile, had to switch it up a little bit. Had to switch it up a little bit, but I think underrated, and I mean this, it's absolutely underrated. Tenet. Tenet is a really good movie to watch on a treadmill, but it
Isn't
gets
that
a
a
lot
movie
of
that you
flack
got to
because
think really hard?
no, it's not a movie you have to think hard when you're watching Tenet. Heck, everything's like going forward and backwards. It's great.
So it's confusing.
It's loud. See, that's why it's underrated. That's why it's underrated. It's
I feel like we need to go back over the criteria.
hey, you said no subtitles. There are no
and
subtitles.
I said I can't
Matter
have
of fact,
to think
there's
really hard because I'm on the treadmill.
See, the problem with that is you're looking at it the wrong way. See,
how should I look at it, Carlos?
Tenet is really just, it can be confusing if you let it. And honestly, that was probably the first movie I saw right after the pandemic had subsided and everything. And personally, I got it. I mean, it was a decent movie to me, but obviously because of the sound issues and everything, there's so much bass going on the treadmill that would drive you. I honestly believe that. I've done it.
What is this movie about?
And the movie is about Denzel Washington's son's being recruited into a special mission that takes him to another country to, you notice how confusing this is already?
You can't even tell me what the movie's about. Tell me what it says on the IMDb, the little blurb it says on IMDb or whatever. It's just like, I don't want you to read it. Just like tell me like that. What is the movie about?
An agent is recruited into a special ops mission to stop a crime before it happens.
Stop a crime before it happens.
You know, kind of like Minority Report, but not.
But hold on a second. First of all, if you stop a crime,
Crime has happened, but you got to go back and stop the crime.
Oh, I'm about to say, isn't stopping a crime in essence making sure it doesn't happen?
Yeah. See, now you're thinking too much into it.
I mean, that's what stopping the crime is. Oh, he's about to rob the bank. Wait, but we stopped him, so he didn't rob the bank.
So that's the crazy part about it. That's why I say this movie is so underrated, because it can, if you take the time to try to put any kind of reality, any kind of logic in this movie, you've wasted everybody's time. So that's not what you want to do with this movie.
So no logic.
You don't want to do it. No logic. No. It's just entertainingly convoluted.
I feel like this is a moment to take you back to our childhood. And I'm going to say something that we used to see quite often in moments like this. What you talking about, Carlos?
He does it without the fro. Beautiful.
I mean, what are you talking about? Carbs Gym is here. Okay, Tattoo saying, Matt says, if you're doing treadmill marathon, try Interstellar. First of all, I never committed to a treadmill marathon. You need to relax. I didn't say treadmill marathon. You got to relax,
man.
My God. He said, try Interstellar or Lord of the Rings Extended Edition. Now, I'm down with Lord of the Rings because they do a lot of walking. As you recall, I say I like it when I'm walking and somebody in the movie's walking too.
It's a lot of cardio
but
involved.
I'm not trying to be on a treadmill long enough to watch the entire trilogy of Lord of the Rings.
3 hours per.
You know, side note, when I watched Two Towers, that movie was so long. You know, I got a bad knee. I heard it when I was in the Marine Corps. So if it's bent for too long, it starts to throb, right? It starts to hurt. So I was watching the Two Towers and my knee started hurting so bad, I dang near didn't see Gandalf show up to rescue him. All right. I'm just like, my knee was hurting so bad. I was like, I don't care if y'all all die. This movie's too long.
Nothing to laugh at. That is nothing to laugh at.
I'm going to go home and read the book twice. This hurts.
Oh, anyway. Man, ice packs.
Okay, anyway.
Let's go to number 2.
Please, yes. All right. What's your second recommendation? Let's give him the big screen again. Okay. Go ahead.
Number 2 is a story of a deaf kid that is probably the best driver in the city. And I think if you already know, Baby Driver. The music is great. The action is great. Yeah, actually, Jamie Foxx is in this one, and he plays, one of the most obnoxious villains. Oh, he does not. He does not. This kid, I honestly, like, all my notes of that's another story. Anyway,
that's fine.
This kid plays so cool. He's just basically he got drawn into the underworld, and his only way out is, of course, to drive for the boss. And this is supposed to be his last mission. He's trying to get out. He's trying to get with the girl that he meets at a diner.
Define kid.
It's just
because I was thinking because it says baby.
Yeah, and he's obviously a grown young man, but he's been with this guy for a while.
So he's not a baby that's a driver.
Kevin Spacey's the main boss.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So
Baby Driver. All right. So we're gonna put down. Yeah. If you've seen Baby Driver, go ahead put a one. Let me get a thumbs up in the chat if you've seen Baby Driver and you agree with the things that Carlos is trying to get me to do. Because I take your recommendations and I try them, Carlos. You say I watch Roadhouse. I watch Roadhouse. And I was on the treadmill.
You asked for underrated. I'm giving you underrated. And these are really good movies if you really
Baby Driver. All right. So let me make it. All right. Yeah. I'm making a note. Baby Driver. All right. I've also got the Beekeepers on my list too, by the way.
Oh, yeah. But that really shouldn't be underrated at all. I think.
No, I'm just saying that's a movie you recommended to me in the past. And that's on my list. I'm
gonna watch
it. Yeah. I take your recommendations. Okay. So Tattoo. Matt says gives you a thumbs up for Baby Driver. So there you go. You get a cosign. So now if I don't like it, it's both of y'all's fault. That's what's going on with that. All right. All right, let's go with this. Let's go with a movie that sucked. It sucked when you first watched it. But then you watched it again, whether you on the treadmill or not, but you watched it again, you're like, okay, that wasn't too bad. This might be good if I was on the treadmill. So here we go. This should be good. Because you said Tenet. So now I'm looking at you sideways.
I'm already dying. Okay,
now I'm
so
looking
you
at you
want to
like
talk
this.
about get the side eye? Oh, come on, come on. It's not that bad. Come on.
Oh, Matt. Hey, look, Matt said Baby Driver's got some good scenes, but it's no Kung Pao. It's no Kung Pao though.
This is true. This is true. It's not.
I feel like you can't argue with that. Baby Driver is definitely not Kung Pao.
There's no cow sparring going on here. I get it, but
Kung Pao, man.
There's
Matthew Porter has showed up. Matthew Porter is an educator. He educates the youth. All right. I want to know what Matthew thinks about some of these movie recommendations you're giving. These are all movie recommendations for the treadmill. So
okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give you this.
Thank you.
I had a little you said stuff that was terrible or just bad when you first saw it, but it ended up getting better.
Okay.
I saw this in the theater like 100 years ago, and
okay,
this is I thought it was probably
it's
the worst thing I ever saw. Black and white, all that.
All right.
Thought it was probably the most atrocious thing ever, and even to this day you could probably think that way. But Jean-Claude Van Damme's Street Fighter. Yeah. Now I know it wasn't 100 years ago.
No, I'm trying to think. I don't even remember him from Street Fighter. Who did he play in Street Fighter?
Exactly. He played Guile.
Oh wow. Oh yeah. I remember because you said Street Fighter, and I was thinking, does he mean kickboxer? But no, I remember now. Yes, he played Guile. He played MD Guile. Yeah. That's right.
Man, that movie was so bad when I saw it the first time. And right now, it's one of those that I could just go back to I can watch it over and over again.
I'd rather watch Big Trouble in Little China.
Any day, sir.
And I almost watched Escape from New York, but I couldn't get the to work. I was trying to turn it on, and then I remembered then I was like, well, what if my daughter comes in, because it's up on the TV, like the big TV. I can't have that. So
yeah.
But what's funny about that is it was like in 1997. That's when all this was happening, and I was like, that's crazy.
Right.
I was like, golly.
Yeah, they missed
in 1997, it's also when the comet went between the Earth and the Moon, and that led to Thundar. So that was a rough year.
God, yeah,
that's a rough year for stuff. All right, Carlos. So that's your
came back real quick,
huh?
Yeah. We came back real quick after that one. Yeah, we did good.
What's your the number one? I know this wasn't on the list of questions I gave you, but we got to have something. The day Bison entered your life was the most. Oh, okay. This must be a quote. The day Bison entered your life was the most important day of your life. For me, it was just a Tuesday.
It was just Tuesday. Yes.
Okay. So apparently he watched it. Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
So what I want to know now is all time, no fail, without a fail, go-to movie. Give everybody here. So these are all experiments that you just told us about, Baby Driver and Tenet. All right. Now I want something that you're like, all right, no matter what, even if you hated these other ones, this one you'll love. Give me a no-fail recommendation for the treadmill.
I was not ready for this one. You know my brain's not working.
Just a movie you can watch at any time. Hey, go watch. In fact, I want to hear from everybody in the chat. What's a movie that you can watch at any time? You can just throw it on you throw it on while you're doing in the treadmill, or you're just working out at your home gym. You're like, hey, I'm gonna just throw this on in the background. It's always good. For me, I will honestly say Captain America: Winter Soldier. No matter when I throw it on, I can start it in the middle. I can start watching it from the beginning. I can watch the whole thing. I can watch just the end. Watching them curb stomp Iron Man I was like, they curb stomped this dude. I'm telling you. So for me, that's my go-to movie. At any time I can always throw it on. Matt says Street Fighter is immortally greatable, which is terrible and great at the same time.
You know what?
I feel like you and Matt need to get each other's phone number and talk a lot. That's what needs to happen. That's what's going on here.
Telling you. It was just that. Okay, I'm falling off course, but You know what?
Yeah.
Doomsday. Have you heard of it?
No.
Okay, we're talking post-apocalyptic. Well, it was in Europe, England, there was a plague that hit in, kind of like the T virus in Resident Evil, and they walled off this whole side. I think like you can say like Ireland or some crap.
I thought
And
you were in England.
well, that's what I'm saying. It's a fictional story, man.
You started out saying it was no. It can be fictional, but Ireland and England are still two different countries.
This is very true, sir. So
I'm very confused right now.
Yeah, you should be. But the premise of this movie is just so great that it's like
where basically over there where Matt lives, there's a plague. That's what I got.
There's definitely a plague.
Okay.
And there's after like years of the walls being closed down, people trying to get in. It's a bloody movie, so I mean, gory as heck. As far as guns, it's not a scary movie, but they send in this agent because they found out that there was life after so many years, and they want to know. They want her to go out and find the cure. Go find that person, bring it back, just in case because the plague actually came over somehow, and when she gets over there, she brings a crew, and it's like medieval Ireland. It's like they're riding horses and stuff, and it's the ground is green all over. The earth has taken the city back, and all this stuff. So, but it's violent, it's fun, it's got sci-fi elements in it. Like, girl's got a freaking camera in her eye that she pops her eye out, and just it's crazy.
That seems awkward. That virus affected a lot of things.
Crazy.
Okay, so Matt says in the UK we walled off one of our islands. He said we have lots of them, so take your pick. Okay.
All of them.
All right. So
I think Doomsday, definitely check it out.
Basically, the people from America go to England and then somehow end up in Ireland because they're looking for a cure to a plague. That's
got nothing to do with America.
You said they came over to go over there, and I'm like, from where?
No, it's all.
So they're all over there.
Nothing to do with. Nothing to do with America.
No Americans were harmed in making this movie. All right, so basically, it's just you people in the UK. They got a plague, and they go to this. They go from England to Ireland to try to get the cure.
I am so not prepared. I apologize to all your viewers.
Hold on.
But it's been one heck of a week, y'all. Seriously. Oh shoot. All my notes are crazy. I'm moving. So and
no. We can do this. We're gonna land this plane. It's a movie about trying to find the cure to a plague.
Yeah.
All right. And it's very violent and bloody.
All right. Action packed too. There's a lot of running involved. It's awesome.
A lot of run. Oh, okay. That's good. All right. That's one of my criteria. I like it when they're exercising while I'm exercising.
The thing you're saying, I lost your sound.
You can't hear me. You can't hear me? Oh, my. Oh. All right. Can you guys hear me in the chat? Because
There you are.
So my sound was fine. So something happened with your headphone.
That's what's going on here.
Okay. Yeah. So you guys, are you wearing like those wireless? Okay, that's the problem.
Yeah. Bowers and Wilkins.
Okay. Yeah, all right, so let's see here. Before we close here, we got that's pretty funny. All right, Matt says we send our problems to other countries. Look at Australia. That's wrong. That's just wrong. Oh boy. All right. That's so bitter. All right, man. Look, tell everybody where they can follow you if if they want to check out your your pictures of you at the movies. Because Carlos will text me pictures, but sometimes it's like he'll text me a picture of like in the cinema bathroom, and I'm like, you could go back outside. I don't need to know that fast.
That was one time. There was one time.
Too many. That's one time too many. Carlos texted me a picture of himself from the dang bathroom. I forgot what movie you were watching, but I was like, why is he in the bath? Why is this dude taking pictures of himself in the bathroom and then send them to me? So that's a two-part question. Why are you taking pictures of yourself in the bathroom? And then two, why are you sending them to me? Why do I get them? All right.
Shoot.
So
that was definitely an early screening. So yeah.
Yeah. That's what we're calling.
Yeah.
All right. So I got your Instagram growing across the bottom. It's CBS True Consumer Reviews. And then is it CBS?
You can also find me there on what's that? The new thingy we've got going on.
Threads.
Threads, yeah.
Yes, he is. He is active on Threads. In fact, if you want an instant Threads follower, just go on Threads, start your account, look up Carlos. He will follow you back, and he will interact with you. I can vouch for that. He'll jump right in the conversation. You also want to subscribe to. I'm glad. Actually, I meant to ask you this: is it CBS TCR on YouTube or is it CBS True? Yes. Okay, so you changed it just that. All right.
Yeah, just broke it down. Yeah. Again, like I'm in the process of moving. That's why you don't see your banner. I promise you, it deserves to be in this.
I understand, man. I understand. I saw from the text message. Carlos texted me at 1. So I sent him a text. I sent you a text early. Said, hey man, I just sent you the email with everything you need to get into the show, which apparently was a failure. But anyway, I sent you the email with everything you need to get in the show. At 1 a.m., Carlos texted me. Hold on, I'm gonna read this to everybody.
Do it. Go ahead. Yeah.
This is amazing. I was like, that's why I called you. I woke up. This is a total disaster. This is at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was like, first of all, he knows I'm asleep. But I woke up, I see the thing, when I woke up this morning. This is a total disaster. I'm still moving. I have no idea where my list is. So then I said, so the first question, because I asked myself was, what list is he talking about? Is his packing list? I mean, what is he talking about? Wait, I bet you he wrote down his answers to the questions. All right, cool. So that's when I talked you down, right? I calmed you down.
Yeah.
I ended up calling and I said, man, it's okay. It's all right. It'll be okay.
I didn't jump.
Then he got emotional when I called you and you were like, no, I worked too hard for this.
Oh my God.
He jumped through the phone on me like it's my fault he lost his list.
Dude, all right. If I may,
go ahead, Carlos. I'm gonna let you add this.
Go ahead. A minor recliner of rage situation.
Oh, okay. I'm all about rage. Go ahead.
I've always wanted to be on this segment.
You want me to play the thing? Right. You want me to play the thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Never in history has this happened, but here you go, Carlos. It's the recliner of rage.
It's the recliner of rage, 'cause he's not happy.
All right. Let me just say, I've been looking forward to this for a couple weeks now, and I started this move. I made phone calls, and everything was supposed to go really smooth. However, after calling my internet provider and getting everything set up, I was supposed to have internet yesterday morning. I get an email that says, your equipment will be delivered to you on time Friday between 2 and 6. So I freak out. I call the internet provider. We're not going to say who you are. We're not this time, because that's the only provider around here. Anyway, I was told I can drive to a store and go and physically pick up the stuff, which was my initial plan 4 days ago. But they were like, no, we're going to ship it to you. So I spent forever in the store, finally get everything taken care of, get back here. I'm still moving. It's storming outside. Time just goes by. I've got stuff I need to do. Finally, I get internet. And now I lose all my paperwork. So, I mean, after talking to John, this had to happen. There's no way I could back out. It just had to happen. So
I knew you were emotional when you waved your hands but weren't talking. when he was just moving his hands, when not saying anything, I said, "Yeah, this means a lot." That's how you can tell somebody's worked up. Like, I said, "Oh, he's stuck. He's stuck. We gotta reset
because he's not happy.
We gotta hit the reset button." Look, this is a safe space. If anybody is mad about something, I mean, there's some parameters, but if you're mad about something, you come on here. I'm happy to let you be in the recliner
Let's
rage.
keep PC though. Yeah.
Because hey, this is a safe space with community, and we support each other. And I tell you what, I'll give you Andrew Towers' phone number, and you can call him and tell him. I'm just kidding, Andrew. I'm not gonna do that to you. I just want to see if I can get him to jump back in the chat. Anyway, listen, man, I appreciate you being here. I'll let you get back to moving. I know that it took a lot for you to be able to make it for this, and that actually I do appreciate it because I have had people just ghost me before. So, oh well, here we go. Here we go. Matt says your brain hit error 404 due to rage.
Exactly. At the reboot.
Andrew said anytime, fan. We're here for you, Carlos. We understand.
You guys.
I told Carlos he should find a crackhead because a crackhead will help you move. They'll get it done quick. Just saying. They may be, rummaging a little bit. Rummaging through your stuff a little
move everything out of my old apartment, but it will never make it to the new place.
I'm just saying. But you want it
Some
done
guys
quick.
can come around the corner like a week later. Hey, buddy, you want to buy this stuff that's yours?
Hey, look. You'll get it back. And you'll get it back for a fraction of what you originally paid for it.
Wow.
Sell you your computer for $20. So, hey.
That's crazy.
So, anyway, man, I appreciate you being here. This is hilarious. All right, so Carlos will be back next month with another set of movie recommendations. My man, it gets better, okay? It gets better, I promise.
It's going to be great. Thanks, guys, for all your patience.
All right, man. Later.
Later.
All right, so that was Carlos. It's always an adventure with him. But I really do enjoy having Carlos on here, giving recommendations for movies that you can watch on the treadmill. And now we're going to move right into our next segment. And that is, that's right. Hold up. Where we at? Right here. News and other things. If I can find it. Where is it? All right, so it's time for news and other things. Once again, I told you guys at the beginning, I'll tell you again that the Friday dance party will return next week on Friday, May 10th. So I want you guys to get your dance moves together and tag Garage Gym Life. Tag at Garage Gym Life on Instagram. So you have two ways to do it. You can either post a video and tag at Garage Gym Life in it, or you can just DM your dance video directly to me at Garage Gym Life. Don't send me any weird stuff. Well, I guess technically the dances are weird, but you know what I'm saying. Don't send me any crazy stuff. Send it to me, and I will be happy to add you to the video. I've already got it. I got the song already to go, and so I'm excited for the Friday dance party to return next week, Friday, May 10th. Remember, rhythm is not a requirement, but enthusiasm is. Also, you can still donate to Hope Kids. As I tell you guys that Hope Kids is an excellent, it is an excellent charity. I don't really have one of those things where I talk a lot about a lot of charities because you always have to vet them. But I can vouch for Hope Kids. I can tell you that they're doing great things. So this is part of Relentless Nashville, and the donate link still works. So you guys can see the donate link up here, but I've also got the link in the description for this video. So you click on it, and what Relentless is basically it's a powerlifting meet, and the lifters lift. It's kind of like a jogathon at your kid's school or something like that. But that is over, and I actually was there to stream that, and that's still up on the channel. And now you guys can just go to the donate link and continue to donate. We're trying to get them to $100,000. And we are at last time I checked, we were at 20,000. So these guys do a lot of stuff to help kids who are fighting life-threatening illnesses, and they support them and their families. Just kind of letting you guys see they've got a bunch of stuff that's going on. You guys can also visit hopekids.org to find out more about them. Okay, so once again, check them out. If you still want to see what's going on with them before you spend your money, I completely understand. But if you are led to it, please donate to hopekids.org, Relentless Nashville, and let's help them get to where they need to be. All right. Then let's see here. Let's move on to the next thing, the next item. I'll go ahead. Let's see. We got a question here. Man, no. So Eric wants to know if I checked out version 2 of the Saxon Groups ad, Matt. No, my entire Saturday was taken up with. I'll go into this a little bit later when I talk about my HomeGymCon recap. But my entire Saturday was occupied with the strongman competition. I really didn't get to do anything other than the strongman competition, except for I was able to sneak in a quick interview with Matthew Porter before he left. And that's really it. So I didn't get a chance to go look at anything, man. Everything I did, and I did see a fair number of booths, but I did all of my stuff going to different booths. I did all of that on Friday. I wasn't able to go to any booths on Saturday at all. So no, I was not able to check them out. Let's see here. All right, now the other bit of news. So I just discovered this yesterday. So when I'm trying to find out home fitness news, right, or home gym news, I'll just type in, like, I'll go to PR Newswire and I'll check what press releases there are. That's where I find out the stuff about like companies that are going bankrupt and out of bankruptcy. But then I also just do a simple Google search, home fitness news, home workout news, right? And it struck me that the result that popped up this last time is the best. It was like a list of the best home fitness blogs, right? It was like a list that's just been released. And apparently this list of the best home fitness blogs don't include anybody that we follow. Now, I can't speak for you. But I know it didn't include most of the people I follow. Okay. This list here came from let's see, FeedSpot. And the best home fitness blog, it had sites like At Home Fitness Blog, which I had never heard of. It has sites like Marcy and iFast Fitness, which is those are sites that sell home gym equipment. And I think At Home Fitness also sells equipment as well. So this is the list right here. Elite, the Elite Home Fitness Blog. That's the number one. I never heard of these people. But it looks like they're coaches. Okay, and they're based in, that's fine. At Home Fitness Blog is a store, basically. iFast Fitness, they make equipment. American Home Fitness, same thing. It's they sell equipment, they sell stuff. And look, finally a name we recognize. The man himself, Garage Gym Experiment blog. All right. And I'm going to tell you right now that is the only name on this list that I recognize. I had never heard of World Fitness Australia blog, Home Gym. But I think I researched them, and they are, I think they're a coaching site. Oh, no, I'm sorry. They find equipment. So they're another store. Then there's a Fit Beast blog, which is not primarily home gym, but they have a home gym section. So you guys can see all this stuff here. And then, so it's basically divided into people who sell. Yeah, let's get out of here. It's divided up into people who are selling you equipment, or people who are coaches. There's very few that are in the vein of like what I do and what Jake at Garage Gym Experiment does. And that's people who just try to, like, we're not tied to any specific brand of equipment. We're just trying to educate you. It bothers me really that none of those popped up. Well, except Jake. Okay. And he's number 5 on the list. But so the reason why that bothers me is like, well, what are we in the home fitness community doing if we don't pop up as search results? When somebody who doesn't know anything about us, they just Google, let's say they're trying to start a home gym, or their doctor says, hey, you need to start working out. They're going to work out at home, and they say, okay, I need information. They they do a Google search or a Bing search or whatever, and we don't pop up as a result, right? And I just worry that we're becoming too niche and difficult to find because we're starting to get too narrow, right? And I think a side effect of that is a lot of us who are on here went to HomeGymCon. That's a great opportunity for new, or maybe not new, because I don't know if a new home gym owner will want to spend the money to go to that. They're likely to just buy the cheapest thing they can find. I mean, that's what I did. But when you're a couple years in, you're at the point where this is the lifestyle that you want to pursue long term. And so you're looking for the best ways to spend your money. HomeGymCon is great for that. And I don't know how many people in that demographic even knew that HomeGymCon existed, because the word still hasn't gotten out to everybody, right? I'm fine with people finding out about it, knowing about it, and just deciding not to go, because everything's not for everybody. But I don't like it when someone who could potentially use the information doesn't even know that it's available. That bothers me. We need to do better. Matthew Porter says that the interview was fast. Yeah, man. I mean, well, you saw how quick I was. Like, I said to Matt, we were actually outside. He's getting ready to go. I said, can you do it in 5 minutes? He said, yeah, because the strongman competition wasn't even over yet. And in fact, that's partly why his audio was a little quiet, because I had to use noise reduction, because the music from the strongman competition, actually, if our audio was too loud, the music from the strongman competition would have given me a copyright hit on the video with Matthew, and I didn't want to have to take it down. So I had to do some stuff with the audio, so it was a little bit quiet. But we literally were like, I had line of sight to my seat where I was doing strongman competition, because I needed to make sure that if I needed to break away, run back over there, that I could. But it was a fast interview. Matt says, I find it offensive that I'm not at the top of everyone's Google search. Well, man, you need to fix your stuff, man. I don't know. That's kind of like, you need to get into that SEO, and make sure you don't use any AI, because Google doesn't like that right now. No AI, no Chat GPT. Don't use any of that stuff. And he said, but on a serious note, HomeGymCon and Garage Gym Life should be at the top of any home gym Google search. I appreciate that, man. And it doesn't even have to be me. I mean, I'm a big fan of what Tim does over at Gym Crafter. I think Garage Gym Athlete, Garage Gym Lab, those are all sites that I feel should be sites that pop up if somebody just says, just searches home gym equipment, or that's probably what they're going to search for: home gym equipment, workout at home, that kind of thing. All that stuff should just pop out. Okay. So also, my first blog post for living.fit is up. They asked me to do a blog post after I did a review of a couple of their products, and so I put the link in the description for that. I mean, you can say it's sort of a generic topic, because it says, can you make progress in a home gym? It kind of is a generic topic, but I felt like that was a good topic from the standpoint of all the people who got home gyms because of COVID, and now they're at the point where they're starting to feel like, I think you hit a point maybe a couple years in where you have to decide whether this is what you want to do. The thrill is gone. You don't have all the new stuff, and I think in the beginning, some of what gets you going as a home gym owner is that you're buying equipment, right? You're buying all this stuff up, and you're like, oh well, there's you're excited about finding this stuff. Well, at a certain point, you got pretty much everything you need, and now you got to settle into actually using your home gym equipment. And that can be where the motivation stops to be as high, is not no longer as high, because in the beginning it's like you're excited to use the new thing you just bought. Well, once that starts to slow down, how do you stay motivated to continue to train? And that's that. I think that's what's difficult about it. Matthew said, "Yeah, Matt, you had 17 hours of driving. That was crazy. I didn't even realize that you lived that far away." But hey, that I think about stories like yours when people tell me that HomeGymCon is too far, and I'm like, well, you got people who are traveling this far. It's not that it's too far, because basically what they want is for it to be closer to them. Like, I actually saw somebody say, "Man, it'd be great if it was up here in New York." I'm like, well, yeah, then it'd be. But yeah, so I guess screw everybody in California and Colorado, huh? If we'll put it in New York, and the heck with it, the rest of the country. But yeah, shout out to you for making that drive, man. All right. Now let's move on to the next thing. We got a few more minutes before my guy Nick shows up. Matt says, if you're doing it right, you should always be buying new gym gear. I just had to buy more sand because my sandbags are not heavy enough for competition prep. I mean, I guess, man, but I can say I'm pushed back a little bit, because if you're not training something like strongman, if you're just training for fitness and you basically got, let's say 600 pounds of weights, barbell and plates, and then you got a set of dumbbells. Somebody who's just training for general fitness is going to feel like they've got everything they need. So maybe they look for some sort of cable machine, a way to add cables in, especially if they're a little bit older. And pretty much that's going to be all they need. And I don't mind if you keep on buying stuff. I'm just saying, because that's the crowd of people that like to watch the videos I make. But I think that at a certain point, you have to be motivated by more than buying new stuff. Because if you're only motivated by buying equipment, you're going to end up being one of those people that's a collector. You got a bunch of good looking stuff and your body doesn't look like you actually use it at all. So there's that. So, all right, let's do Tales from my inbox. All right. So the first thing I have in Tales from my inbox, this one just jumped out to me because I was just, we just had to do road trips. This is like a public service announcement for you guys. And let's see here. See if I can pull this thing up. Hold up. See if I can get it. It's funny because it's like a tollway scam. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's pull it up here. So apparently there's scams that are occurring over text messaging. So you'll get a text saying that you didn't pay a toll, especially if you're on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, right? It's not a big amount, but it says if you don't pay it right away, they're going to charge you additional payment fees. And then you got to click the link, and then you click the link to settle your balance. But it's actually from cyber criminals. If you tap the link, you go to a fake payment website. They use it to steal your login and take your money, install malware on your phone. So it's just crazy because my son actually got one of these, but it was last year, and he actually had driven up that way. But I'm just thinking, like, anybody who came to HomeGymCon who came from that way, I'm like, I hope nobody got, because if you drove from that way, if you were on the Pennsylvania Turnpike at all to get to HomeGymCon or to get back home, be careful. Or to be honest with you, if you get any messages saying that you didn't pay a toll, just use good judgment. Don't go clicking links left and right. All right. Matt is losing it. He says, don't stop at 600 pounds. Go for 700 and 800. That's true, Matt. I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that at all. Now, last tale from my inbox. Okay. So I got an offer. I don't even know how this happens to me, man. So I get offers from brands to review stuff, right? So here's the latest brand offer I got. Y'all gonna laugh. I know you are, because y'all don't really care. seriously, it was to review this. A Brio scalp massaging brush. Now, that's better than the hairbrush, but one thing you'll notice is, see how she got hair? See, she got hair too? Okay, but apparently this is a scalp massage. Now, apparently it's you massage your scalp with essential oil treatment. I'm not exactly sure what this has to do with having a home gym, but they reached out to me, and this one here says you'll feel like it's people's hands grabbing your scalp. So I'm just gonna tell you, I'm not exactly sure if I'm on board to feel like somebody's grabbing my skull. I no, it's an offer. It's not an offer for resistance bands. And by the way, I just found some more resistance bands here in the house, so I got to take them downstairs and add them to the stack. But nah, it's an offer for a brush to massage your scalp. So I don't know. It may be all right, but again, I don't know what that has to do with a home. I don't know what that has to do with a home gym. I don't mind doing reviews of products if they're home gym adjacent, supplements, something like that, recovery tools. But I fail to see what a scalp massaging brush has to do with home gyms. So in fact, I'm going to ask Nick when he comes on. I'm going to ask Nick what's the weirdest thing that what's the weirdest thing that any brand has ever asked him to review. Matt says oiling up your head. I know getting people to oil up is an internet trend at the moment. Man, I'm not. First of all, nobody's going to get me to oil up anything. Okay, let's just start there. You got to relax. All right? You try to get me on the marathon on the treadmill. Now you're trying to get me oiled up. You got to relax. That's not happening at all either. Not at all. It is now 7:01. So let's say what's up. I know some of you guys are already here, but what's up? Good morning to the Central Time Zone. Thank you for joining. Please go ahead. Do me a favor. If you were just tuning in, hit that like button, hit subscribe. Help me reach my goal of 50,000 subscribers because I need everybody's help to do it. If you've already hit subscribe for me, then do me another solid and share this video with someone else who you think might enjoy it. We got some momentum going, and we want to keep that momentum going top speed, all right? No, Matt, oiling up does not add 20 kilograms to your squat. I don't feel it. First of all, that makes the bar slippery. No. There'll be no oiling up. All right, so let's see. We're going to bring in my guy, Nick Nielsen now. He's backstage, so let's go ahead and bring him. I want you guys to go ahead and show your love for my second guest, Nick. You didn't know you had theme music.
I didn't know that at all. That's awesome.
Now look at that. I'll tell you. Oh, this show, we spare no expense.
I know. I popped in and all of a sudden you're talking about oiling things up. And I'm like, did I get the right channel?
Yeah. I'm saying, I'll show. I was like, so I got a brand deal offer, which I turned down. Mm-hmm. But the brand deal was for, hey, I'll show you again. The brand deal was to, for this gadget here. Eric, you see that?
Oh yeah.
The Brio scalp massaging brush. And wow. And it's like, I was like, okay. And this is where the oil comes in. Hold up. You put oil in it, and then it'll feel like human hands are rubbing your head, and you could take it anywhere with you. And it's got 3 massaging modes. And and that's enough of that. So as you know, my channel is about home gyms and home workouts, and I just don't understand what that has to do with any of that. So I was like, why did you pick me out? What's the weirdest thing anybody's ever asked you to review?
Probably the weirdest thing is actually something I ended up actually doing the review for. It was an automatic plug-in neck massager.
Okay.
So yeah,
I can understand that.
Yeah, it's like a set of headphones, but you stick it around the side of your neck, and these little things just go right around here, and it pings you with electricity as well. So it's like shooting you electricity in there to try and relax your muscles, and it's got a physical massage thing that's digging in like that too. And when I was doing the review, I just wanted to see, what happens if you just use it on one side of your neck. and I cranked the electricity all up to the highest setting, and then set it on one side, and my head was going like this for like as I was using it. It was really actually kind of funny. But
do you have any video footage of that particular test? Of you just like jerk into the?
I do.
Look like isn't there is like Night at the Roxbury or whatever where they're doing that dance right here?
Is it? Yeah, that could very well be. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have footage of that. I actually posted it up in my review to say, this is how you can tell the thing is working. So here's what happens when you put it on one side, and it was like jerking my head to the side as I was.
What's the thing? Bionic Gym is kind of like that too. Like I'm starting to see a bunch of gadgets for they're basically e-stim, and you just sit there and it's supposed to work your muscles without you. I don't know. I guess while you're watching TV or something. So you can eat something that's not good for you, but then put that on, and you should, it should kind of make up the difference, right?
Oh yeah, I mean that stuff never ends, and it's just like you wear those electric belts that are supposed to tone up your abs and stuff. It's
yeah. Hey, if it worked, buy me two. I have one for home, one for work.
Absolutely, yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your channel, because I know a lot of people. So you've already got people who are saying, yelling your name in the comments here. But for anyone who doesn't know what you do, give a quick elevator speech. What is the mad scientist of muscle?
But the main thing that I do is I take normal pieces of equipment, I take normal exercise, I take normal movement patterns, and I try and improve them in basically very unique ways sometimes. And I'm not constrained by what things might look like or how people might think of me in the gym kind of thing. I mean, I train at home and I do this stuff. When I used to train in commercial gyms, I would do this stuff no matter. I never got kicked. Ironically enough, I never got kicked out of any gyms for doing weird stuff. I got kicked out of gyms for doing deadlifts. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's, but essentially what I do is I just try and make things better, and I try and solve problems. And a lot of the times solving problems in training means using equipment in ways that it's not intended to use. So that's actually a good portion of what I do is like I've come up with ways to use dumbbells and barbells, just plain equipment, in ways that nobody else has really, that I know of, thought of. And just, you can use them in ways such that it mimics other equipment that you probably don't have, and also then don't need to buy, because you can do it with the equipment that you've already got. And that's one of the big things that I love to do with my basement gym is, I have entire books based on, here's what you can do, 150 exercises you can do with the power rack, and none of them are squatting. So there's so much you can do just with very simple equipment. Yeah. And that actually goes back to my early days of having a home gym where I literally only had a power rack, barbell, and dumbbells. And I've got a lot more equipment now, but when I first started out my own home gym, I had to really get creative with what I was doing. In some of the gyms I've worked out in over the years, commercial gyms, they were very limited. I used to work on cruise ships, and one of my home gyms, one of my gym setups there was in basically the bottom of a cruise ship, and it was a rickety old Weider bench press with concrete weights and the plastic covers, and then a dip station and a chin-up bar, and that's it. So, it's like coming up with stuff for all that. And even with that, I managed to get ridiculously strong with that kind of stuff, because sometimes just having limited equipment forces you to, not only get creative, but to kind of really progress on specific exercises. So you can take a very specific exercise and really work that one to the maximum. So it's, there's benefits to limiting yourself, and there's benefits to kind of expanding your horizons as well.
Right. So you mentioned ridiculously strong. You've got a fair number of videos on your channel doing some unique things with a lot of weight. So what do your neighbors think about, like, when you're doing like a 280-pound sled drag, or you did a 600-pound yoke bar loaded carry for like 200 something meters, I think. Mm-hmm. So what do your neighbors think? I mean, they're probably immune now. They're just like, oh, that's just Nick. But let's say somebody new moves in the neighborhood. What do they like? What's the first thing they say to you?
Are you okay? Seriously, it's the first time I started doing car pushing in my neighborhood, just up and down the street a few times. I literally had like 4 people ask me if I needed help to go get gas. So it's, I got a lot of nice people in my neighborhood, and now most of them kind of know that this is the crazy guy who lives down the street kind of thing. It has been kind of comical. I was doing a barbell carry, just one shoulder barbell carry, 165 pounds on my shoulder. I'm walking down the street, and somebody asked me for directions. I'm not even kidding. It's like as I was walking, carrying this, they were walking the other way and say, "Hey, can you tell me where such is?" And like as I'm carrying the barbell, and I gave them directions. I'm like, "Yeah, you just go down that way and turn around this corner."
There you go.
It's like
that's hilarious.
That is hilarious. It's like that was the last thing I was expecting as I was, carrying a heavy barbell on my shoulder like a crazy person down the street. And they're like, "Can you tell me how to get
guy,
to?"
He obviously knows where everything is. Yeah,
clearly, yeah.
So I've been watching your channel for years. It's funny because you've got so much stuff on there that even as long as I've been watching your stuff, I still find new things. Like I saw your donkey calf raise solution because I was doing research for this, and I said, "Oh wait, he's on a donkey calf raise solution using a safety squat bar." What? Because I've been looking for a solution for donkey calf raises. Now I've used the safety squat bar a lot of times for just standing calf raises, but never the donkey calf raise thing. Is there anything I should know before trying it, or is it just go ahead and give it a shot?
Pretty much you can just kind of give it a shot. Just make sure that the bar doesn't slip off your hips as you're doing it. Just kind of get the angle right. But yeah, I mean, the setup is pretty straightforward with the bench and the bar inside the rack, and then just, getting your hips properly into the bar, so to speak. And then it's actually pretty straightforward. Yeah. So,
okay.
And go for that stretch at the bottom. Hold that stretch for at least 3 or 4 seconds. Don't worry about trying to come up as high as you can. There's good research that shows that you don't even really need to, like push to the maximum extension at the top there, but just, that stretch really is the key for that exercise and for almost any calf raise exercise too. So
is there, well, actually I asked this before I asked that. You mentioned research. Where do you normally go to get the information you use for the exercises you do? Because it kind of relates back to what I was going to ask you before. It's like, well, how do you come up with this stuff? Do you start with the idea, hey, I've got this muscle group I want to work, I don't feel it working? Okay, that's where everybody starts. But most of us will go and then build something or DIY a piece of equipment or go buy something, right? In my case, I'm like, let me find something I can buy. You go a different route. So you figure out a muscle group that needs working. What's your next step?
From there, basically, I'll kind of dig into my past repertoire of stuff that I've already come up with and see if there's anything similar that maybe didn't quite work as well as I thought. Or sometimes I'll actually take just a normal piece of equipment and do an entire workout with it, and just say, okay, here's a kettlebell handle. I need to find a way to work calves with this, or I need to find a way to work shoulders with this, but not in a way that I've ever done before. Like how can I use this piece of equipment that I've already got to
So you mean like you do like a full body workout with it?
Sometimes I will, yeah.
Body part by body part, just going until you, okay.
Yeah, a lot of what happens too is it'll just like, while I'm doing something, I'll think of something else kind of thing.
Okay.
So, I've done a lot of that where I'm actually like, say I'm working shoulders and now like, well, I'm starting to feel that in the biceps, maybe if I tweak this, adjust that, change the positioning of this. Okay, now that's a bicep exercise because, ended up in a similar movement pattern or working something kind of the same. So like, okay, how can I tweak this in order to, target that body part instead? And, it kind of just literally goes from one to the other sometimes, where right now I'm not working any specific muscle group as a goal. Sometimes I'll just go in and say, okay, I think I'm going to work some of this. And then I end up working something totally different. And that happens a lot too. So.
Okay. I'm just asking that because I mean, like, I saw you. So you put an easy curl cable handle behind your knees to work your calf. I mean, not your calves, your quads.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. Is like, well, how do you? Sometimes the stuff that you do, sometimes it makes sense. I'm like, oh, I can see that. Like with the I think you were using those weight plates that had the easy grip. The ones that had the grip handles, you're using those for chin ups. You're like, oh, this is a better chin up setup, right? Yeah. Like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the thing with the cable handle, I was like, how did you even get to that point? Like, how did you eat? Like, how did
What?
you even get?
How? Where? What?
Yeah, like, how did you get to that? That's what I'm saying. It just fascinates me.
Oh yeah, I can even tell you the process behind that one if you want to.
Yeah, okay, I want to hear that. Go ahead. How did you get to that point?
So originally, this exercise was basically a braced leg squat, where I had the bar set up, just a regular bar set up in the power rack, braced up against the uprights behind my knees. So it's a solid bar, not moving. I'm doing it's kind of like a sissy squat with that. So instead of having a pad there, you use a bar braced behind your knees to block your legs from
I
shifting.
mean, kind of like the
backwards.
Spanish squat thing that people do with bands. Like they
Yeah,
put a
exactly.
band.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
sure.
I was doing squats with that. I'm like, what if I do this exercise with a bar behind the knees attached to the cable? So I'm actually getting forward pulling tension. So then I was doing some of those, and then I'm like, what if I straighten my legs here? You know, that's the extension. You know, let's throw that in too. And then once you get that tension at the front, and then you step back a little bit, get that forward tension, and then you straighten your knees up, you're actually getting the same, you know, action on the quads, but with a lot less torque on the knees, because the bar is literally like right under your knee joint. Right. So there's no distance. There's no, you know, it's not 2 feet of, you know, distance between where your ankle and your knee is on a regular leg extension, which does put torque on your knees. This, because it's, you know, it's kind of pushing from one side, and that's when you straighten your knees. It actually really torches the quads. It's great tension on the quads. It's continuous tension on the quads, which once they're continuously activated like that, they don't get any of their waste products out. So you build up a lot of lactate really fast when you're doing that one continuously. And literally when I was doing it like 10 to 15 seconds of that, and my legs were shot. Right. You can go lighter and then really crank out the lactate, and that.
So it's like a good finisher.
Yeah.
Probably a good, I guess, pre-exhaust as well too.
Good pre-exhaust, yeah. It's more appropriate for a finisher, I find, because once you get that lactate into your muscles, you really soak those muscles. It's going to take a good 15 to 20 minutes to clear it all out. So it's, you know, you try and use it pre-exhaust, it can actually be too good for pre-exhaust because of that, where you're really going to compromise your next exercise. So.
Okay. So let's see. Number one. So Carlos said you just got a new subscriber, so probably just subscribe to you. We have Matt Welch. So I'm just giving you fair warning. Matt is from England. He's on his lunch break right now, and he shows up to troll. Okay,
right on.
Matt's my guy, though. I like. He says, "Because I have friends who have a similar way of training. They go in to do legs and end up somehow doing bench press instead." Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
That's actually a really common thing where, you know, everything kind of gravitates to the bench press. So,
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Bench press has a lot of fans like that.
So one thing I never asked you, because you've got an Instagram. I remember when you actually got on Instagram, and you have a YouTube. Is there any difference in the content that you put on Instagram versus what you put on YouTube, or even how you present it?
Sometimes yes, and sometimes what I do primarily, I'll kind of go in between short content, which primarily goes onto Instagram, and longer stuff where I think it needs more explanation, or I think it's just overall like a more involved technique that goes on YouTube, because it's kind of a longer format. People are used to watching longer stuff on YouTube. So it's really kind of targeted to the type of content it is. Like, for example, if I'm doing just like a rack yoke loaded carry in the power rack that doesn't require a lot of explanation, I'll just like, okay, here's the bar, here's 1,000 pounds, here's me standing up, walking up and down the rack with it, setting it back down. But I go, if something is like a funky setup, like the quad exercise we were just talking about, that people can kind of see that on YouTube, but it really on Instagram, but to really kind of understand how it works, it really needs a longer form in YouTube, I think. So that's generally.
So that's the exercise right there. I'm showing it up on the screen.
Yeah.
So people get an idea of what I'm talking about when I said, how did this guy even get to that point?
Yeah, exactly. And I've actually done a free weight version of this with lunges as well, walking lunges. So with a kettlebell or bar behind the knee as you're doing a walking lunge. So imagine the burn you get from a walking lunge on the front leg, add it to the burn you're going to get from something like this on the back leg, and your legs are on fire by the time you're done with that
Yeah,
one.
you look destroyed. I'm like, God, when you got done, you look like
Yeah.
like you're trying to figure out how to tap out.
Yeah. Oh, fair warning too. I've actually done like 3 or 4 sets before this one, before I got this one on film. So my legs were pretty shot even at that point already. So
Oh yeah, that's horrible.
Oh yeah.
So let me go into, you got a fair number of exercises. As you say, you don't care about what people think about you, but there is, let's call them the safety patrol, right? And they're, number one, they're afraid to try anything new. And then you also have the people who they have the paralysis by analysis crowd, because all they want to know is what's the science behind it. They're not going to actually do the exercise. They want to know what's the science behind it, but they'll never actually lift, right?
Yeah.
So do you ever get any pushback? I don't care about those first 2 groups, but do you ever get any pushback from actual reputable coaches who are like, well, hey, I see what you're doing, but what about this or what about that?
Occasionally I do. It's pretty rare, actually. It's actually a lot more rare to have somebody who kind of is experienced and knows what they're doing and can see the value and the benefit of the specific movements versus somebody who really can't. And that's the people who don't really see it, and the people who are, afraid of what they're going to look like in the gym. Those are kind of the people I get more of the pushback from. But people who are experienced coaches I find, for the most part, more open mind. There's exceptions. There's always people who are like, oh, that's stupid. That's just idiotic. And you don't need to do that. Stick with the basics and all that stuff. But primarily the more experienced coaches are looking for things that can give their athletes or clients an advantage, or looking for things that keep their clients interested in stuff. Like my unique exercise, my best exercises series of books. I've got like 14 of these books for various body parts. A lot of the people that buy these are actually personal trainers and coaches.
Okay.
Simply because, when you're training a lot of people during the day, if you just train them with the basics, they get bored. Not only the coach can get 100%. Bored, but the client, clients are not necessarily, they don't really care about progression sometimes, unless they're specifically asking the coach to give them progressions and working towards a specific goal. They want
because all they care about is how they look.
That's what they care about, and enjoying their time in the gym, having fun, having new challenges. People love that stuff. And so as a personal trainer, I've had a lot of really good trainers tell me, when are you coming out with your next book? This stuff is gold. This keeps my client base coming back to me, because they know they're going to get something good and effective and safe. That's one thing I always pride myself on, is I will never post anything that I think is unsafe. Crazy, absolutely. Unique, different, absolutely. If I don't think it's safe and somebody's going to hurt themselves doing it, assuming that they use good form and assuming that they use appropriate weights, obviously, then I won't post that, because I have come up with stuff that I'm like, ain't no way I'm posting that, because that's just too much. There's stuff, there are exercises that really are not, things that people should do, basically. Yeah. I've come up with a few of those, and once I do them, I'm like, no, I'm not doing that, and I delete it, and I don't ever do it myself again. I keep it in the back of my head in case I can come up with a better version. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, good coaches and good trainers are open-minded and have the knowledge to kind of see beyond what something looks like. So it's pretty rare that I get a real good coach say, yeah, no, not good. It's just most of the people who don't, people who are in their first couple of years of training don't really know anything beyond the basics, and have an attitude of I know everything, kind of like a training teenager.
Yeah. I got you.
Not necessarily a teenager, but a training level.
No. I know what you mean. It's like I used to be that guy. When it's like you're on your first certification, so you know everything. I was fresh out of college, had a certification. I knew everything. You couldn't tell me anything. Yeah. I think I still remember, this is just kind of random, but I remember we were talking one time and you said that you had like sometimes you'll come up with an exercise and think that you invented it. And it turns out it was an old school exercise that, it's from that people were doing back in like the 1920s or something like that. Yeah. I like that because you're a throwback to that era when people would have maybe, okay, they've got one barbell, that's it. And it's one of those globe barbells or something. And so you have to figure out, you can't get, this is before Alan Calvert invented the loadable barbell. And your barbell was pretty much that. So it's fixed. So you get it made however you get it made. Now you just have to be creative. Like, well, let's start out. Can I pick it up off the ground? Okay, now I picked it off the ground. Now what can I do with it? Can I press it overhead? And you just go through that progression. And people ended up being very, very strong in a lot of different ways while remaining mobile. Do you find that the way that you train allows you to do a lot of different things, as opposed to a lot of times people, whether they train for a sport, let's say they're training for strongman or they're training for powerlifting or even they're training for weightlifting, you tend to become one-dimensionally. Now you can only do that thing. And then you have the other side, the kettlebell jugglers and whatever. Yeah, they can do those things, but I'm not saying that there's not any cross training, but a lot of times the functional fitness people are not as strong as they could be. Does that make sense?
Totally.
Whereas you seem to be mobile and strong. I mean, nobody who drags a 280-pound sled isn't strong, right? I've seen the things that you can do. So your training has good aesthetic results, but it also makes you strong. Does it make you mobile and athletic as well?
Yeah, it absolutely does. I don't limit myself to, I don't consider myself a bodybuilder, a powerlifter, or a CrossFitter, or anything like that. I just do what I want to do and do what I feel. Sometimes my goal will be strengthen the deadlift, and I'll focus on that for a period of time. And then I'm like, okay, now I need to do something different, and I'll focus on kettlebell stuff, or I'll focus on, like during the summer, I like to do a lot of outdoor training. So some that'll involve hill sprints, or, hill sprints while dragging, toe chains behind me. Sideways work, sideways sprint work and stuff like that. And, a lot of similar stuff to functional training. So it's almost like total cross training, where I'll do like a Renaissance thing, a little bit of everything, good at everything kind of thing. But I've never really felt that I need to be the best at any one thing. So, if you're really trying to, cover a lot of different bases, you do kind of cycle through different styles of training over the course of a year. And that's a lot of what I do is, as I'm going into fall, I like to focus more on strength stuff. Over like winter coming into spring, more muscle stuff, and then more fat loss and metabolic conditioning stuff over the summer, because that's, I love training outside too and freaking people out. That's a lot of fun.
So Matt says, I know he's talking about it. He said there's someone on Insta, it's Strongman Archaeology. He does a lot of old school exercises, and he's actually the person that showed me how to do a Steinborn. His name is James Fuller. He's a really knowledgeable guy. He's actually got a YouTube channel as well. Strongman Archaeology.
Nice.
His stuff is, he competes in the USAWA and the IAWA, so a lot of his stuff is like, it's not stuff that he comes up with stuff as well, but a lot of his stuff is just the old school exercises, like Steinborn, Saxon lifts, hack lifts, all those different things.
Oh, nice.
That he does there. Yeah, check out his channel. I think you'll enjoy it.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you another thing. You're in really good shape, right? And a lot of times and that's what I was getting at with like the functional fitness people. Sometimes you look at them and you're like, yeah, but you don't look like you actually lift. You don't look like you actually work out. Yeah. You look like you lift, right?
Yeah.
And which is huge. I mean, you're in your 50s. Do you get pushback from people who say, okay, your results are just genetics, so that they won't necessarily, if somebody trains like you, they won't necessarily get what you have. It's just genetics, or even accuse you of being on PEDs. Do you ever have to deal with that?
Sometimes, yeah. More with the PEDs back when I was, in my early 20s, and I was like 215 pounds and pretty relatively low body fat, like around.
How tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
Okay. Yeah.
So right now I'm about 212.
Okay.
It's not too bad, but I'm definitely on a fat loss phase right now. So it's not a super lean 212. I'm probably about, 16, 17% right now. But Yeah, I mean, I do have people who have questioned that. Are you on something? I'm like, no, I've never been. And they say, well, it's all genetic, and obviously, there's always going to be a genetic component, but I don't actually have really great genetics. And my dad was a high-level ultra endurance athlete, so I actually have better genetics for endurance training than I do for building muscle. And that's why a lot of the stuff that I do, especially with loaded carries, is like a lot of long distance loaded carry endurance stuff, which I find incredibly good for overall conditioning and even for muscle to some degree. But when you're built like that, like I'd say my body type is more ecto-meso combination. Like I can lose weight pretty fast and I can lose muscle pretty fast if I don't train well and if I don't eat a lot. But I can also hang on to muscle pretty well when I'm dieting down. So it's really, for me, been finding the best training methods to build up. Like when I first started weight training, I was also a high level endurance athlete. I was doing Ironman triathlons. I was 145 pounds.
Yee.
Yeah. And I was like, 6% body fat doing triathlons, skinny as a rail, had some muscle, but not a whole lot. And then, I went off to college and I said, okay, I want to focus my training. I want to build some muscle now. And I went from that 145 in 8 months, I was up to almost 220. I was 217 pounds. And that's when everybody.
That's when they start telling you PEDs. Yeah.
Yeah, that's when everybody in my hometown, like, oh, man, you got to be juicing. You got to be on steroids.
Were you doing a lot of heavy squatting? Did you up your calories at that time?
My calories were way up. Ironically enough, I didn't do squats or deadlifts for that whole entire 8 months. I did some machine squats, but I wasn't doing any barbell squats, and I was not doing deadlifts at all. I put on all that weight just doing stuff other than that, which is kind of strange. Like a lot of leg press, I would do primarily leg press for legs, which is also a good exercise.
Sure.
But lots of heavy barbell rows and stuff like that.
I was going to ask you if you were rowing a lot.
Yeah,
okay.
A lot. Yeah. Yeah. No, that was a time when I fell into the trap of more is better, and I started my workouts. Some were getting to be like 2.5 hours, 3 hours long, and you can get away with that for a while when you're first starting training. And then I was kind of hitting a wall, and then I found the Bulgarian burst system. If you're familiar with that.
That sounds horrifying. No.
Yeah, it's Leo Costa. He basically went to Bulgaria and came up with this high frequency thing. Yeah. And in the 90s, you've probably seen ads for this in muscle magazines and stuff. So I thought, oh, this sounds great. I'll do that. And I'm glad I did, because I learned so much on how to train and adjust volume and intensity and to kind of build yourself up and pull yourself back. And, from 4 months, I had another semester there, and I gained another, 40 pounds of mostly muscle by doing that. I was training 6 days a week, twice a day, and because I was, 18 years old and eating a crap ton of food, I could handle that. So, that I wouldn't ever train like that right now, because,
heck no.
I can't recover enough to benefit from that. It would, be a downhill race to the bottom on that one.
Yeah.
Unless my workouts were like, 15-minute workouts. But, and plus, once you get to be a more advanced level, you can handle more weight. Your body does need more recovery. When if basically I was doing nothing but eating, sleeping, and training, then it would be fine. And there's been phases where I've done that, where I've had that opportunity where, before I got married, before I had a job, before I had anything, I was in between jobs. I did a 6-week program where I worked everything every day. It's kind of like that movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I was literally 6 days a week, twice a day, total body workout each time. So I was doing a total body workout 12 times a week. And then I ramped up in the volume. So I was increasing volume, decreasing rest periods in between sets.
But your load went down too, right?
No, I was getting really strong.
Oh my God.
So as I did that for 3 weeks, ramping everything up, increasing density on everything. And then I would pull back for 3 weeks. So then, I would only do a whole body workout every day, 6 days in a row. So I cut the volume in half essentially, and intensified the training where I was doing even heavier, longer rest periods, fewer sets, kind of letting that the body catch up and really building muscle and strength. And
so it was like overreaching and then super compensating. Okay.
100%. Exactly. And that's when doing stuff like that, I got my weight up to about 230 pounds at 5'10", completely natural, never touched any drugs, and basically ecto-meso body type. And that was the biggest I've ever been, was doing that kind of training.
Okay.
Yeah.
I should have said this before, but if you guys have any questions I know you guys we do have comments in here. Like Keith says, I messaged him this morning, and he said he had a steak and eggs, saw the message, and now he's here. So I'm glad you jumped in. So we're talking to Nick Nilsson. Nick is the mad scientist of muscle. If you have a body part that is stubborn and it's not responding to normal training, hit Nick up. I promise you, he has some movement that you will feel. Like actually, for a while there, I didn't feel my triceps when I would do a lot of stuff. I would only feel my chest.
Yeah.
And I think I used a variation of, I used a variation of one of your movements. It's like the tricep, the rolling tricep thing, but the bars fixed or whatever. And I used that. I started to feel that. And then because the thing is I either wouldn't feel them, or if I did something like nose crushers, I would feel my elbows would hurt a lot. Yeah. And so I had to work around it. And so just moving the angle of it was something that really helped me out a lot. Yeah. So if you guys have any questions, whatever, just drop them in the chat, and I'll make sure that we ask Nick those questions.
Absolutely.
While we have him for a couple of more minutes. All right. Matt says when I first started training, I was doing 2 to 3 hours, 7 days a week. And he's progressed in knowledge and strength. He's down to 2-hour sessions 4 times a week. So Matt competes in strongman. I will say that he's got over 600-pound deadlift. Nice. He competes in strongman and powerlifting, but primarily strongman. He's an ice bath aficionado. I will say that too. Yeah, Matt, if you've got any questions or anything you want to throw at Nick, he does. I promise you, he does a lot of different kinds of training. He's a very good follow. You guys need to follow Nick. It's Nick Nilsson 1 on Instagram, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. So go ahead, give him a follow on Instagram. Keith has a question. He said, "What's your thoughts on neck training?" He says, "I have a neck flexing is great because sometimes I have pinched nerves here and there."
Yeah, neck training is excellent. Actually, that's something I definitely can recommend. I do it not super regularly, but I do. Sometimes I feel like, okay, I need to do some neck training, and I will add some in and come up with a few different things. One of my favorite ways to do it is to actually combine it with other types of training. Like I'll do dips with the dip weighted belt behind my head. So as you're doing a dip, instead of having the weight down by your waist, the weight is pulling on the back of your head. So your goal is not to obviously get your head tilted forward, but to use your neck muscles to keep your neck in a neutral position as you're doing a dip. And that's a fantastic way to go. I've worked up to about 90 pounds on that one. Start light with that one whenever you do it. I also like doing banded chin-ups, where you're basically having a plate behind you and you're wearing the band across your forehead like a headband, and you're doing a chin-up, kind of leaning back into that position. It's kind of pulling you back into a good position for doing chin-ups in like a hollow body position. And then
so you're lying on the bench.
You're doing it from a chin-up bar.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So instead of a weighted chin-up where you're hanging the weight from your waist.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah. You're having the band hanging from your forehead, and the weight is behind you.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's a fantastic way. Neck work you'll always see a benefit from neck work, especially if you're doing it good. If you're doing really bad neck work, then there's limited benefit to breaking your neck, of course.
But, you can kill yourself.
Yeah.
Literally, if you do it wrong, you paralyze yourself.
Exactly. That's why you got to kind of start light, work up slowly, be careful that you're able to maintain proper form and never push your neck to failure.
Oh, yeah. So Matt says, "I love cold water." He's going to make sure to follow you. Do you have any tips on dealing with tendonitis in elbows and knees?
Oh, I got some great stuff for you for that. My favorite thing to do for healing up joints is actually heavy lockouts. It sounds crazy, but what happens with your joints is because they have poor circulation, you need to actually force the issue. So for example, if you got elbow tendonitis, what I like to do is a lockout close grip bench press. Hold that. You want it close grip because you got to stack the joints, because we're not looking for muscle action to hold up that weight. We're looking for joint and bone to hold up that weight. So say, for example, you put like 185 on the bar and just hold that at close grip lockout, let the weight, try and relax everything that you can muscularly, and just let that weight push down on your joints. That basically uses compression to squeeze fluid out of the joints. What we're doing is creating hydraulic circulation. So squeeze it down, compress the joints, and then set the bar down and do a dead hang, which then pulls the joint out, which then sucks fluid through the joint. And then you compress again. So you do alternating sets of compression and decompression. And the even bigger trick for that is about 40 minutes before your workout, take a serving of vitamin C and a serving of gelatin or collagen. That gets digested, that gets into your system, it's circulating through your system. So vitamin C and collagen, that combination is fantastic for joint repair.
Okay. So
you combine that with that action.
Now you got Matt excited because he says he's got deadlift tonight. He's going to make sure to get long solid lockouts, but it's with the deadlift. So with the deadlift in a lockout, isn't that pulling your arms though? That'll
give you the great decompression. Absolutely.
It's the decompress. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like for him to get the compression, you'd have to do like a squat walkout for the same thing that he's talking about.
You're gonna the deadlift is interesting. For the elbow, you're gonna get decompression, but for like the back and knees and stuff, you're gonna get compression.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
But so for example, for your knees, fantastic way to go. Lockout squats, even just like a partial stand up, hold that for a while. It's gonna be great for your knees. For the elbows, that's when you want to get into like a press kind of compression and decompression situation. Nice. But with the 585 deadlift reps, that solid lockout, that's going to put good compression on your back, your knees, and that kind of thing. And then again, you can do for the knees, the dead hang works great too, because you're getting, that gravity working on all the joints basically.
Nice.
So that's a great combo. Yeah, take in the vitamin C and collagen if you've got some about 40 minutes before. That'll be circulating. So when you're doing that compression decompression cycle, you're pumping healing nutrients into your joint, which basically in my experience can shorten healing time by 200-300%. I've had a lot of people try this technique and tell me that it's like magically cured joint pain for them. Like nice. one guy fixed his knees by doing that, where he did a version of a squat where it was basically done in the power rack with a bar just kind of across the knees, and then just let that weight kind of bear down on the knees. But it's like almost right on the knees, but it's like 3 inches above the knee joint. And then you're just kind of holding that bottom squat position, let the bar rest and, compress the joint, and then decompress the joint. And the guy said it was amazing. Within weeks, his knees felt so much better because he was getting that healing nutrition directly into the joint where he wasn't getting that circulation before.
Nice. That's awesome. Okay. So we got a late arrival, the Kurt Locker. Hey, what's going on, Kurt? Kurt is another strongman competitor.
Nice.
So we're talking to Nick Nilsson. We got Nick for about another. Got 5 minutes for me?
Absolutely.
All right. So Nick's gonna be with us for about another 5 minutes. So you got any questions about training? Just drop them in the chat. Recovery, anything? Just drop them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and ask them. You did a 605-pound trap bar deadlift to celebrate turning 50. So what are your current goals?
My current goals right now.
You said you're losing body fat now, right?
That's my primary focus. And like I said before, one of my favorite things for doing something like that is long distance loaded carries. So I'm kind of working on building back up on distance and weight and stuff for those. To give you an idea, one of the craziest things I ever did was a mile carry with 500 pounds on my back.
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a 3-hour tour right there. That was
I was wrong. I think that's when I told you I wanted you to try the Inman Mile. That's that competition, and I'll say go for that.
And you know what? I think that I could do that one as long as I could use the Mars bar for that.
Gotcha.
That's actually one of the things I was going to try it last year, but I didn't get around to it. To try and do that Inman Mile with the Mars bar and kind of see how that worked. Because if you're not familiar with the Mars bar, it's basically holds the weight on you like a backpack, and it's
I saw they had them at HomeGymCon. They had a
Perfect,
booth at HomeGymCon, so I've seen it.
Yeah.
In fact, this is also another question that I hadn't planned on asking you. Something like HomeGymCon is great for people who like looking at a ton of different pieces of equipment.
Mhm.
But for you, is there any fascination for you with that, or are you just like still like, I want to see how many things I can do with just a straight bar first?
Oh, I love training with unique equipment too. That's
Okay.
Yeah, it's like I'm like a kid in a candy store with that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because not only do I see what I can, what the creators has done with it, and it's like, here's the purpose of it. It's like, wow, I could use it for that. I've been looking for something else to do with this for, so it's like, with the safety squat bar, for example, not the Mars bar in particular, but just like a re-yoke bar, like you'll see on Elite FTS, I've got a whole book of stuff that I'm going to be publishing fairly soon on what else can you do with this safety squat bar using it as a rotary leverage device.
All right.
So I'll see stuff like that and I'll go, wow, I can do this with that now. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I've been looking for something like that, not for what it's intended to, but
yeah.
That works exactly like something that I've been looking to, figure out a way to do. So it's
man, I wish I had told you. I mean, when I asked you whether you were going to go, was that the first you had heard of it?
That was the first I had ever heard of it. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, man. So coming up in 15 minutes, the guy who organized HomeGymCon is going to be on here.
Oh, nice.
He's going to be telling us about next year. So this past year was in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
So it was about a 3-hour drive roughly for you.
Yeah, about that.
And then next year it'll be in Louisville. So it'll be, I guess, a 4-hour drive. But
it's not far,
it's yeah. So like actually when I called you from the Body Solid booth,
mm-hmm.
I was at HomeGymCon. So
yeah,
we definitely got to get you there. In fact, Kurt was there too. He ran the strongman competition. He's got a question for you. He said, "Are you into competing as a masters athlete? And what do you think about the need for old man show with more weight class splits, but just all masters athletes? So maybe 40 to 45, and then 45 to 50, and that kind of thing."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the idea of having more more age classes for older trainers because, I think more so than even like between your 20s and 40s, you can kind of really peak at any point during that time. Once you start getting past 40, it does, people like to say you can't get it all back, but it does affect you. Age does affect your recovery. And for me personally, I thought about maybe now that I'm 50, starting to do masters competitions and stuff. That could happen. So,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but what would you do?
Strongman stuff would be fantastic.
Like you do a strongman competition?
That's primarily where I'd gravitate to, yeah, because I love doing the unique movements and the athletic kind of strength stuff like that. That stuff's fun to me, and that you'll do variations of deadlift, you'll do variations of squats and stuff, and carrying stuff and heavy movements and heavy endurance. Like strength endurance. See who can do something the longest. That's fun stuff. That really gets me competitive is when I have something to work against like that. Probably at this point would be almost 9 years ago. I had tried out for Steve Austin's Broken Skull Challenge thing.
Oh, I remember that.
Broken Skull, yeah. I was an alternate on that show, so I was almost on that show back when I was in it was the early 40s at this point. Okay. And it's anybody over 40, they had very limited slots for that show, so it was actually harder to get on as somebody who was over 40 than it was for a younger guy. But they said, if somebody couldn't make it, then I was in. So
nice.
Yeah, but yeah, that's I haven't done any competitive stuff in a while. I did a couple of Spartan races a few years back, and that was a lot of fun too. So
nice. All right, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and this is the part where I'm gonna let you have the stage. How can people reach out to you if they have questions about your work, or if they want to? Actually, do you have clients? I know you have the books that you sell people, but do you actually have clients?
I don't actually. I haven't trained anybody in quite a long time. It's
okay. So if somebody goes to your website, they're going to be buying your books, and I guess you have like consultations or anything like that. Like,
I can do consultations. Yeah. I mean, the cool thing is I love this stuff, so I'm happy to help with any questions anybody has, especially if they've bought one of my books, have any questions like that. I go back and forth with people all the time, and it's like, this is fun for me. So if you go to my site, madscientistofmuscle.com, there's there's help desk, there's contact links on there. That's probably the easiest way to get a hold of me. If you subscribe to my YouTube channel or Instagram, in the comments on there, Facebook, in the comments on there, any of the social media sites that I'm on, I read all the comments. I reply to any questions that come in on there all the time. That stuff's fun for me too. I love sharing this crazy stuff and taking questions and, getting suggestions from people too. If like somebody, all the time I get people like, oh, have you tried it this way? And I'm like, I didn't think of that. And I'm like, this is awesome. I'm going to try that kind of thing. So, I love getting feedback like that too. And, I don't know everything. It's the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. And that's how I take it. I'm always about learning new things and learning new methods and techniques. So it's like never stop learning and never think you know everything, because you don't, and you never will. So it's so basically, madscientistofmuscle.com. That's my website. And that's kind of the home base for everything, where you can find links to my different channels on social media and contact pages on there. It's got a whole ton of stuff on there too. Unique exercises, training programs, workouts, stuff like that. So.
100%.
Yeah.
Nick, man, I appreciate you getting up early with me.
Absolutely.
And hanging out. Definitely to have you come back on some in the future. And you guys, make sure you go ahead and you follow him, man. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with him. Like I said, hang around, because Jake's going to be coming on probably about 10 minutes. And he'll be giving us the heads up for HomeGymCon 2025.
Right on.
All right. Later, my man. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. All right. So that was Nick Nilsson. You guys definitely need to check him out. He is the mad scientist of muscle. Nick has got so much information that goes, I would say it goes off a little bit off the beaten path, but it is something that I would say anybody can make use of. Even if you don't necessarily want to train like he does, you're still going to get an opportunity. Like, let's say you got a stubborn body part or anything like that. You're just looking for ideas for like a good finisher. Nick's YouTube, his Instagram are always good places to look. And then if you'd like to get something that's a little bit more, I don't want to say regimented, but structured, then you can grab one of his books from madscientistofmuscle.com. I've got some of his books, and they're really, really thought-provoking. And like I said, they got a lot of good techniques in there. So I'm glad that you guys were able to get something out of that. What is his Instagram name? It is, hang on a second, I'll put it back up against on the thing again. It's Nick Nilsson 1. So Nick, like Nick, and then NILSSON, and then the number 1 on Instagram. All right, so that's it right there. If you guys need that again throughout the show, just put it in the chat, and I'll be happy to pop it back up there. All right, but now let's go ahead and let's move into Recliner of Rage for me, and then we're gonna bring Jake on. All right, so once again, it is the time for the part of the show that y'all like. It's probably one of my favorite parts, because I get it off my chest. All right, all my anger, rage, and frustration. Recliner of Rage.
It's the Recliner of Rage. It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
Okay, so today's Recliner of Rage is brought to you by my treadmill. My treadmill is downstairs. It's not even that old, but one of the stabilizers, it's the back. It's the one in the back on the left-hand side, and it's damaged. And no matter what I do, it's like you're supposed to be able to twist it so that if it's off kilter, you can twist it and either make it longer or shorter so that it levels out your treadmill. At least it's supposed to, but mine is damaged. That one's damaged. So no matter what I do, it's always uneven. So it's like you're walking, it's a all right? And when I walk, I'm walking about 5 miles a session typically, right? Obviously, if I walk shorter, it's going to, I also walk shorter at times, but it's basically about 5 miles a session. That is a long time to hear when you're walking. It is just frustrating. And then I made it worse because at HomeGymCon, I went to the Bells of Steel booth to get my workout in Thursday night after we had set up everything. And I got on the treadmill to warm up, right? And that was such a pleasant experience. I mean, I wasn't doing like the farmer walk or anything like that. I was just literally just walking on the treadmill. But it was so pleasant to be walking on something that wasn't uneven that it made it worse because it reminded me of how annoying my own treadmill is. So it's like when you rent a nice car when you're out of town, or let's say you have a car wreck and the insurance company gives you a rental and the rental's nicer than your own car, right? So then you go and you get back in your Ford Festiva after everything's all resolved, and it just makes you madder because you remember how nice the other car was. That's how I felt. You know, I love the fact that I got a treadmill here in the house, but I swear to you that uneven, it's frustrating. It drives me bananas because, again, we've tried multiple different things. So we don't have a permanent fix. Right now, what we're doing is we have a spare 2x2 square washer, and we just shim it. But you can't leave it under there because when we're not using the treadmill, we'll fold it up. So there's a 2x2 flat washer sitting in one of the cup holders. And before we get on the treadmill, we have to take that 2x2 washer and stick it underneath the foot of the treadmill to shim it so that we're not walking like for 5 dang miles. And it's the most frustrating thing ever. And that's why I'm in the recliner of rage. It drives me nuts. And I'm just walking along and it's just I'm trying not to be angry right now, but I failed because that I would. Okay. Let's just move on. The Recliner of Rage is sponsored by Freedom Fitness Equipment, and there's no need for you to be in the Recliner of Rage when your home gym is outfitted with what you need to achieve your fitness goals. Reach out to my dude Ashton at freedomfitnessequipment.com. He will work with you to help you build the best gym in town.
It's the Recliner of Rage. It's the Recliner of Rage, 'cause he's not happy.
All right, so before I bring my next guest on, I'm going to go ahead and give an early good morning to the Mountain Time Zone because normally I do this at 8 o'clock, right at 8 o'clock, but Jake is already in the backstage, and I don't want to keep him on for too long. So I'm going to go ahead and say good morning to the Mountain Time Zone. Please do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe. If you have arrived while the show is already going on, hit the like button. And then if you have not subscribed, hit subscribe. If you have already subscribed, share the link with somebody. We're starting to get some momentum, getting more people watching the show live, which is the point. And we need to keep that momentum going. Trying to get to have more and more guests here. And one of the ways I get good, cool guests like Jake is because they know that they're going to be people here for them to talk to. Nobody wants to yell to an empty room. Well, Jake might. Jake hates public speaking, so he might like it if he's the only one there. But we're not. No, we're giving him a safe space. Can I not screw the washer onto the foot of the treadmill? That is a good suggestion. Unfortunately, no, I cannot. Because then the washer would be on top of the foot, and it wouldn't give me the it wouldn't work as a shim. I have no idea what you're talking about with Coop about competition. So I'm not going to face that one alone. I'm bringing Jake out right now because I don't know what you're talking about. To be fair, I don't really pay much attention to Coop. And that's there. But here's Jake. Behold. It is he. Everyone stand up and give a round of applause to Jake. Jake, everybody. The crowd goes wild.
Good morning.
So Kurt says, good morning. Kurt says you actually did very well speaking in front of people. And this is proof right there. Look at Jake. He's in his element. That's a crowd. That's Jake with a microphone. Look at him. Just rocking the mic. Look at Jake. Look at that.
You know, once a year public speaking,
I can do that.
I can do it. And I don't dislike it. It's
you don't like it.
I mean, I really do enjoy the opportunity once a year to get in front of like that group of people and just say thank you. So I do appreciate that. I just you know, I'm not necessarily the type of guy looking for the limelight.
That facts. Okay.
Yeah.
I can say that. I'll vouch for
I
that.
mean, I truly do, like, I think about talking in front of that group all the time, and it's like it's an honor. So yeah, I'll do that.
So we already have something I have no idea about. And you got look at it. Round of applause. Boom, look at that for Jake. So do you have any idea? I know this isn't on the list of questions because I don't know what this is. Do you know what this is? Says that Coop says that you are competition, or I know Coop didn't say I'm competition. I don't know if Coop knows I'm alive, which is fine by me.
Yeah, so it all stemmed from your buddy Jim Crafter's video. Did you see
Tim?
Tim's
Okay. Okay.
So Tim made the video saying like, "Where's Coop?" and then went on a rant about how he's changed over the years after he was purchased, and then he got Coop to respond. So Coop responded on his personal Instagram page in like I think it was like 18-minute. So he rebutted basically everything Tim from Jim Crafter said, and he honestly did a great job of just like saying, this is why this, like, I don't agree with you, but pretty much like answered any of the kind of like allegations against him to the best of his ability. And one of the big things was just like, why didn't you go to HomeGymCon? And Coop mentioned that, you know, Garage Gym Experiment is a competitor, and that was one of the reasons why he's not just going to go put his stamp on his stamp of approval on it, which is what they are referring to. So as competition. So
okay,
yeah, but you'll have to go and check out his rebuttal.
I guess sure.
Home Gym Drama.
I see that. So Tim told me. So for anybody who doesn't know, so Tim went to HomeGymCon to help me. And I mean, he wanted to go anyway, but one of the deals was that he agreed to go and help me. And so he was actually, I guess, my roommate or whatever. So he told me he was going to be putting the video out. I said, okay. And I was just like, I mean, I said more than okay, but I was like, you know, I don't particularly, for me, I don't really follow Coop, and I haven't followed him for a long time. I had a home gym before I ever heard of him. And so he's not quite the influence on me that he is on other people. Let's put it like that. Right.
Right.
And there's some other things that I would say, over the years, interactions that I know about with Coop and with people who I know that made me kind of just like turned off. But that doesn't in any way make me like, I don't mind that other people like him, you know, like you don't have to like what I like, you know, I'm fine with that. The thing I object to is him saying that you're competition, and that's why he didn't go. So this is completely off the rails. So look what you did, Eric.
But I imagine this is what people want to hear, though.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. All right. So the Arnold Classic. While the people from the Arnold Classic and the Olympia are essentially they're competing, you don't. So let me back up. So the Olympia is basically a Joe Weider production, right? Even though he's no longer running whatever. I don't even know if he's still alive. But you still see people from the Arnold Classic go to the Olympia, right? And they acknowledge the Olympia champion. They acknowledge the Arnold Classic champion. So to switch sports, you've got the UFL now. The UFL and the NFL acknowledge each other, even though they're technically competitors. What I think is ridiculous is the idea that just because you created HomeGymCon, that everybody else who's a content creator should stay away from it, and it should just be you and the people who follow you, right? And I told you that from the beginning, because if you use that line of reasoning, then I wouldn't support the garage gym competition, which I've supported since Joe told me he was going to start doing it. I told him I thought it was a good idea before he ever did it. He did it. For that matter, when Kyle told you about the garage, kind of the garage gym, when Kyle came to you and was like, hey, I think this would be a good idea, he shouldn't have given it to you. He should have done it himself. You know what I'm saying? And instead of allowing the two of you to build it into what it is now and what I think it's going to be, I think that there's entirely too much of that. And looking at something that we can all see is potentially a way to make something great for our entire community as just something that's competition is stupid, because what you're doing is you're kind of stifling your own growth. Because imagine if Coop did get involved. First of all, if Coop walks in, he kind of sucks the oxygen out of the room, right? Because everybody's like, oh, it's Coop. Okay. It's not going to diminish his following in any way. It's not going to, I'm trying to figure out how it would give you more money. I'm just saying, like, he pays to come like anybody else. Maybe more people come to it, but it's an opportunity for him to appear somewhere. If he asked for a segment, if he said, hey, can I do a podcast or anything there, you'd let him do it. So essentially, he's depriving himself of an additional platform just so he can say that he's not at your thing. And I think that that's short-sighted. So
yeah, I want to also add in, he also mentioned like he was at FIBO a couple weeks
wait, that's
before.
competition though.
He's got kids, he's got a child on the way. He's busy. So there was multiple factors, but he did mention competition as kind of a thing, and he's ultra competitive. And
so then why was he at FIBO?
Because he had plans for a while. Yeah,
I know, but I'm saying FIBO is an event that's geared towards people who have public gyms.
Correct. Yeah,
and he does own a public gym, so that means that that's also competing against him as well. So, got no problem with that.
Right. I'm not. I'm not trying.
You're his lawyer. Talk to me. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, like I said, I would have loved to have him there. I think he's undoubtedly been a huge part of like this community's growth, and then but also at the same time, him and Pillar 4 with like Barbend and Morning Chalk Up and their partnerships, like you take even just Garage Gym Reviews by itself, he is bigger than all of us other content providers combined. Like, yeah. He's massive. So like, I think, I get it. Like, and there's also just like many voices at that company probably that, and I'm just guessing, that have like opinions on competition as well.
Sure. I guess he does have an obligation to the people who own Garage Gym Reviews now to kind of do what he sold the company, so now he's kind of got to do what they say. But yeah, I just think the idea of saying that is competition and that's why you don't want to go is dumb. And the number one reason I can say, okay, I get it, is there's a baby on the way. I get that.
For sure.
I completely 100%. You know what, dude? All you had to do was say that.
Yeah.
Literally, just say that and we're good. All right. But you're telling me all these other things, I think they're ludicrous. And he doesn't care what I think. And I'm not going to, he didn't call me and ask me what I thought before he posted that. But it's funny to me because I saw something, free publicity, I guess, for Chicken Home Gym. I think that's the guy with the Home Gym Discord. So he put out a video talking about this. But again, I had no idea what he's talking about because don't really, I don't know. I was like, what is he talking about? And I just kept on going. But he had like a reaction video to that. And I was just like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Okay. Now I understand. Let's see. So let's see. Andrew says there's no different than two musicians collaborating.
So I that was the example I was thinking of, actually. Like, you know, if you're in a group of artists, and even if you're a musician and you're traveling and you go to another musician city, like what's the issue with like going just and watching, you know? So I think that's another good example. It's not like, you know, he brought up Kobe and MJ would never go and support the competition.
No, but Michael Jordan trained Kobe.
That's true. That's true.
Like, I don't understand. There's no okay.
And Coop's got to realize, like, you know, I would never have been even close to as good as he is on camera. So like that is why I pivoted to something like this. Right. So like he is one of the reasons, like his success and has definitely been one of the reasons why like something like this was something I went after, because there was no way I could ever touch him on YouTube. So yeah, I think that, and you know, so I don't know what else to say other than like, yeah.
Okay, I'll say this and then we'll move on to something else. Well, first of all, so Joy said this is all part of something new. Until those involved realize there's room for everyone, because the HomeGymCon success is great for the majority of people who want to work out, and that is 100%. I think it's something, and you can verify this. I said I think this is something that's good for our community.
Yeah,
and as a result, I don't care. Like, to me, it's a gift that would have been awesome for me in like 2004, 2003, 2002. You know, that would have been, you know, I'd only been in the home gym community. I wasn't even in the home gym community. I had a home gym. I had no community. So this that you've created would have been great for me back then. And I just think it's sad that we don't make it more visible. Everybody needs to do what we can to make it as visible as possible, because it then creates an ecosystem where we all can thrive. I realize that he doesn't need it, but I will also say that he wouldn't have responded if it didn't strike a nerve, if Tim's video didn't strike a nerve. So there's
for sure. And I mean, also, I do think HomeGymCon is one of those things where you see it on, I think the word's out now, but going into this year, it was one of those things where you just had to be there for that first year to really like understand how special it was. So, and then I think the people that went there this year, they're going to spread the word. People see that it's online, see the online traction, and then, you know, it's a little bit easier to get to next year. So I do think it has the potential to be kind of the like annual gathering of the community, and Coop is part of the community and one of the leaders. So no matter who started it, it is what it is, and there's value to coming no matter who you are.
100%.
Yeah.
So with all that being said, are you recovered from the HomeGymCon weekend? Because that was a lot.
It's been a slow week. I've been like slowly getting back at it. It's been hard to make a ton of progress on stuff, but I think now this morning, you know, I finally woke up and I was able to get a workout in this morning. It was the first time I kind of got up and got back into rhythm. Nice. So yeah, I think I'm recovered, and knocked out some of the important stuff this week, whereas like all the kind of extra stuff fell by the wayside.
Gotcha.
But yeah, it was. I think I'm recovered. Right, I'm ready to roll.
How much do you have to like? No, that's all right. Because I'm saying it's not just doing all the setup for the event, doing all the last minute wrangling, talking to people. like you're running around the entire weekend meeting needs, right? Hey Jake, I'm like, hey Jake, can you give me some water? Hey, and you just like running around doing all kinds of things, manning the booth, the desk at the front, all kinds of stuff. And then after everybody leaves, you have to go back through and make sure everything's cleaned up. How much cleaning up did you have to do after we're all gone?
Yeah. So luckily, so the Wednesday morning load in was, I don't want to say a nightmare, but it was pretty intense. Rogue had they brought in enormous amount of stuff and set it up. And, there was just like a little backlog on Wednesday. So going into like Wednesday, I was like, all right, Sunday, the pack up day is going to be the worst. So I was mentally prepared for Sunday to be just a terrible loading out day. And I woke up Sunday morning and I walked into the exhibition hall, and just about everybody was already gone. So I walked into basically an empty place, and it was a big time relief. There was basically just like some pallets and I think swing sesh, and a few other people had to like come in and disassemble. But other than that, it was an easy morning. I stuck around till like 2 or maybe 1:32 to make sure everybody got out and picked up the little pieces. And so not bad as far as cleanup. Not compared to like, nothing compared to like the sprint the week of to make sure all the little details are hammered out. Yeah.
So I'm seeing the videos coming out from people. Mike from Hybrid Resistance just released it. And then when I say just, I mean like when I woke up, so I got up this morning about 4. I normally wake up at 4 on the days when I'm doing this. And I saw he had posted a video. He was talking about his reaction to the Pepin prototype that was at HomeGymCon. So that's the most recent one I've seen. But have you gotten any feedback from the content creators yet?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest feedback I got from the content creators was just like they loved how it was set up, and it was, there was so much for them to check out that they actually couldn't even get everything. So so that I think that was,
I feel like less of a slacker now, and I know other people were like that too.
Yeah, all of them were like, oh, I should have, they had a little bit of regrets about certain things, but in general, I think they felt pretty happy. I see you're already pumping out videos, and yeah, the hybrid resistance, that was like somebody Mike was somebody I didn't really know. And the fact that he put out such a positive review was awesome.
It's funny because he looks to me kind of like Brian Brash from PRX. And
yeah,
he was walking by, and I was like, Brian, because I interviewed Brian a long time ago, and I was like, Brian, never met him in person. And he just keeps on going. I'm like, okay, whatever. He doesn't hear me. But then I kept on seeing him as he's going by, and I was messaging him earlier this week, and he said that he saw me, and he was like, yeah, but you were always busy. So basically we ended up, it's one of those things like we end up not talking to each other. But I would have, so now we're saying, next year that's going to happen, because again, HomeGymCon is for me, it's a great place to make connections. Like Keith, he said he felt overwhelmed. Did anyone else feel that way because it was his first event? I think you can walk in and you see like all the stuff there. And it can overwhelm you. But then at a certain point, and I said this to multiple people during the weekend, I said, it looks like there's a lot going on. But if you stop and really look, what you see are basically groups of people just talking. Everywhere you look, there's a small group of people, and they're just talking. It's just groups of people talking and making connections. That's really all it is. Once you get all the other stuff out of the way, that is like the true value for me.
Yeah, nailed it. That's exactly what I noticed. And If you see those videos of Nice Like Mike asking a bunch of questions, there's that one video where he's like, what was your favorite thing about HomeGymCon? And just about everybody says the people. And then my response was seeing people connect, because that's what I noticed as like, just like you mentioned, as somebody who's kind of like as an observer, always moving around that whole weekend. I just noticed how many conversations were going on everywhere.
Yeah.
Which was like incredible to see.
That's again why I say like this is so valuable, because we're essentially a group of introverts, right?
Yeah.
And then we're suddenly around, and we're not introverted because, well, I can't say this. Okay. In a lot of cases, we're not introverted because we don't want to talk to people. We're introverted because for the most part, nobody's interested in what we're interested in. So why do we, so we don't bother talking. At dinner on the first night, Carp said that his wife sent a video of him talking. I don't know, like I guess he didn't realize she was videoing him, and she sent a video to her family and friends showing him talking to people, and they're like, "Who is this guy?" Because he doesn't talk to them. I'm like, that's funny. He's talking to us. He won't talk to his wife's family. Oh, I think that's hilarious.
That's so true. That's so funny. I'm the same way.
I'm saying it's like, why bother talking? Like, when you're like, okay, well, you're not interested. That's fine. I'll just be quiet, So let me catch up with the chat here. So people said they managed to catch up with the footage. It looked like a great setup. It was. So we got to figure out a way to get Matt from England, because that's where Tattoo Saying is. He's in the UK, and we're gonna get him over here one day, maybe 2025. Joyce said it was overwhelming. She made numerous laps around the building, but she enjoyed being able to talk one-on-one. She was ready to buy, and she did buy stuff. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. There's nothing wrong with that. Eric says, because he did the grip competition, he didn't have time to check everything out, but he was making connections with people. So I think that's it. Oh, no, we have the legend himself. Rory Ellis is in the building. Says, good morning. Eric says it's a group that tends to be introverted, but you come to an event where you don't have to ask about common interests. Exactly. That's 100%. All right. So one thing that stuck out to me about HomeGymCon is it was obvious which brands had made a genuine investment in our community beyond just putting out Instagram posts, right?
Mm-hmm. Because
the brands that didn't make an investment in our community were the brands where nobody was going to their booth. You'd get like, hit or miss. People are like, well, what is this? But you didn't have crowds. The brands where they've invested in the community, where they're interacting with people, that's where you saw crowds. And they weren't all big brands, which I thought was great. You had like JD Gym Equipped had a crowd. Stronger Grip Metal Master. I saw a bunch of people going over to the Bear Steel booth. I didn't really see a huge crowd around. I didn't see a huge crowd at Rogue, but I saw a bunch of people checking out Titan. I saw a bunch of people checking out ATX. Of course, Rep had people there, people checking them out. So I just think it's also something that it's like, for brands who, and anybody who watches this, because we are on LinkedIn as well. If your brand is thinking about going to HomeGymCon, don't look at it, to me, you don't look at it as, okay, I'm going to go here and I'm going to sell a bunch of stuff. Instead, it's kind of like putting up a billboard. Now I'm here, and I'm going to use this as a starting point to build a connection with you. And maybe that'll develop into something down the line. And now you're going to want to patronize because you got to, you see the face behind the brand. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, you're right. I'm glad you brought this up. It seemed like, maybe 75% of the booths were, brought a really engaging and active kind of personality to the event. And like you said, those were the ones that had most of the crowd. And I would say like this convention is quite a bit different than, there's other companies that have gone to like Ursa and FIBO and, maybe the Arnold. Whereas like it's not necessarily as it's a different crowd, and they're not necessarily as like educated, As far as like, for the Arnold, and then maybe for Ursa, it's more of a relaxed, like you're most likely a business owner and you're just casually kind of checking out. You're not really there to, have fun, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think this is just a different type of event where, it's your opportunity to show off your personality, show off your brand. And if you're just going to bring some equipment into a booth and sit behind a table, it might not go as well for you. And I think some of the companies may have just gone to other trade shows in the past, done that, and it went fine. So they came in with that attitude, not attitude, but just that kind of strategy, I guess. So, and I also want to mention, like, the companies that had their like the CEO involved was awesome. Like Peter from Fringe Sport, he was very active.
His hat alone was legendary.
Yes, I think like the Body Solid CEO Scott was there.
That was cool. Yeah.
All of the CEOs of, or like the business owners of the smaller companies were very engaged. They wanted to speak to their customers, potential customers. So I think that's also important. And I think you also saw familiarity with the brands that were there in year one. So that's
what I mean. It's like you built a relationship. Now it's renewing it and strengthening it. Yeah.
Yes. So, part of the value is coming back year after year after year. And I think that value grows over time. And then, so I do think like the first couple of years, it was, like you said, it was 100% an investment. So these are the companies that came to French Lick, not really knowing what to expect. As I've mentioned a few times, they're just here to meet the community. They're like, it is truly just like in good spirits that they're doing this. It's not like I'm coming because I know I'm going to make 3x on my marketing spend at this event. It is really just hey guys, we're here. We want to talk to you. We want to learn from you. We want to have fun with you. So I think that is and all of the companies from the first year knew that. Yeah. So yeah.
I mean, and it's more than just, so let's talk about the dinner for a second. It's more than just, all right, I come to your booth and hang out with you. Although that's cool, right? But it's also, we have dinner and we stand out, so we, Tim and I were standing talking to Adam from Rep for a little while out on the thing. I don't know the back porch. I don't know, whatever you would call it.
The beautiful back porch. Yes.
Yeah. While we're waiting for dinner to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just talking, I mean, we're talking shop, but we're just talking, building that interaction, building a relationship. And, I saw that happening in multiple places where people are talking to the different brand owners. And it's, in some cases it's, hey, I got an idea for a product. And in other cases it's, tell me more about your company. Like, how'd you start? What's your story? Whatever. And I just think that that's an invaluable opportunity. Like, people pay. I mean, I realize that the vendors have to pay to come, but to say, okay, I'm going to be able to be in a spot where I've got people who are actively interested in what I make and knowledgeable enough about it for me to have a conversation with them. And I can get feedback from them about what they don't like about something I made. That's why I love the fact that so many companies brought prototypes. They're like, hey, well, what do you think of this? Right? We're going to take it back, refine it. And before we spend money to, because it's not just making the product, and it's also spending marketing money and all that. Before we do all that, let's just find out what people think about it. I thought that was huge. Why would you pass up on that? With that being said, you've already announced that the venue is changing. What can you tell us about the new location? Is it the same size? I mean, I know it's in a different city, but is it the same size in terms of venue as the place in French Lick?
Yeah. So next year we'll be in Louisville, in the last weekend of June, I think 27th, 28th of June, at the Kentucky International Convention Center. So it's downtown Louisville. It's right next to it's on 4th Street, which is a well-known, if you live in the Midwest, it's a well-known like bar scene, like strip of bars, and so there'll be some things for you to do after if you like. But in general, the new convention center is freshly renovated. It is going to be about 4 times more space than what we already had. We plan on adding all of the competitions to that main floor. So like, whereas we had Olympic weightlifting upstairs, we want to make an Olympic weightlifting section. I'm hoping to bring powerlifting meet to the floor, strongman again, and grip strength. So it's, as I mentioned, it's a freshly renovated building. I'm from Indianapolis area, and I was dead set on doing it in Indianapolis. But I wanted to do a few checks around and visited Louisville. I was like, this is it. This is the spot. It's clean. It's in a really good part of the downtown, which is like a bigger area, but it's not too big of a downtown. So
yeah, because you want to have like parking that you can actually get to, and it's not super expensive and all. Yeah,
right. Parking. Yeah. And there's like 4 hotels connected that will be reasonable costs. The biggest thing is it's about 10 minutes from an airport. So you wouldn't have to rent a car like you did in French Lick. It's on the calendar about 14 months in ahead. So plenty of time to set it up. But, really, I sent an email yesterday to all the vendors and just said, and really emphasized, absolutely want to keep the grassroots feel. So like, if you went to the event last year, you totally know it's a homey kind of like everything we discussed. It's a grassroots feel. There's nothing corporate about it. Right. And going to absolutely go with that same vibe. We can definitely do it in Louisville. Want it to be an engaging floor for people that, you might just need to get the 2-day pass though, if you want to see it all, because haven't reached out to vendors yet for new renewals, but I imagine we're going to be able to get even more than last year. So,
well, you got one who's right here. Says Rory Ellis says he's thinking about getting a booth. Says
awesome.
He's got tickets for his wife, and she's going to be bringing the 2 girls, and if the sales for Roman Strength continue, he's going to be getting a booth.
Awesome. Well, I also just want to mention, like, with that grassroots feel, it's, the overhead part. One of the reasons this is also working is the overhead is low. It's just me, and I don't need to charge traditional convention prices. So, absolutely want to make it affordable for, smaller companies to attend from year to year to year. We never want to lose that feel. So yeah, that's also one thing. Like Rory, like, would love to have Rory come have a booth, meet the community, hopefully sell enough to pay for that space. So yeah, I think I just wanted to emphasize that as we move forward into a bigger area. But I 100% don't want to ever lose that like feeling that you get when you're on the floor last year with such a nice variety of companies, including like I think like most of them are like less than 5 employees. Yeah.
So let's see. Eric says Arm Assassin was his favorite, but of course he got him to sign up. He and his wife were awesome. Joyce Vaudrey says, see, I remember how to say your name, Joyce. Said repeat visits on both attendees and vendors will make it better and better for us all. Yeah. Then apparently, and so this is another thing that's good because you start to like that's I didn't make the same number of brand. I mean, I made some like connections with different brands that I didn't have before, but it wasn't like I didn't know them. Whereas the previous year, there were brands I had never interacted with at all, and I interacted with them there. This year, it was more brands that I had interacted with online, and I got to meet the people in person, and it made it a better relationship. But Eric says that he's gonna get on a call with Eric from 50 Cal Fitness. This is probably what you like hearing right here. I think I love this. Keith says this event was therapy. So he said he was overwhelmed, but it's also therapy because his great people, relationships, and memories. Yeah, man, I think that kind of sums it up right there. Matt says it's a 14-hour flight for him, but he might do. So if Kurt has the strongman event again, he can come and do that. That's something else. Okay, so Rory says the grassroots field is a must. He said he watched an 8-hour GC review that said it was strange that there were no lines to see the booths. I think that's a good thing. Lines at booths would ruin the field. Yeah, because I told people that you actually kind of limit the tickets in a certain way to make sure that we can still have time to go to the booths. Because, man, I'm not down for going to the Arnold. I mean, I've been to the Arnold multiple times. I'm not about to stand in line to shake somebody's hand and then move on. You know, I stood in line to purchase something, but that's not building a relationship. And like I said, this to me, this event is all about building relationships. And then you want to, now I trust you, so now I can order stuff online throughout the year because I trust you. That's kind of how I look at it. So I had a great time again. There are changes I plan to make for next year, just logistically, to be a little bit more effective with my time because I was doing the strongman competition. I didn't make, I think, good enough use of my time on Friday because I didn't anticipate that the strongman competition would go as long as it did. I should have, but that sandbag event went longer than I anticipated. I figured everybody's going to gas quickly. I was not prepared for that. And hey, shout out to them. But then it's also got me thinking about some other things. We'll talk about that offline. But it's just, are there any changes that you plan on making besides moving the venue? Like number of days or anything?
You know, I think as far as the competitions, you know, we'll have more space, and I think we'll want to spread them out. So I'm thinking, you know, smaller heats, so that I think the biggest complaint that I heard was, you know, if you did a competition, it took up so much time and you didn't have as much time to go check out the rest of the stuff. So, you know, I think if we can, you know, the competitions were great. The, you know, Rob and Kurt and then Mandy, who ran the Olympic weightlifting meet, they all did a phenomenal job. The turnout was really 100%. Good. And I would just say, let's try and, like, I think what worked with the Olympic weightlifting is, you know, it's quicker and you could run through it real quick. Right. And then you're in like heats, you know, you're just doing a few lifts. So it takes an hour or so to run through it. And then you have the rest of the time to do that. So I would say, let's try and figure out a way to, you know, keep it more concise per lifter, so they have more time to do other things. I think, you know, there's plenty of small things that tried to do that didn't work. You know, we tried to put companies' product releases on the schedule and gave them microphones, or just product overviews, gave them microphones at their booths. And, you know, people were just too busy doing their own thing. So we started doing that, and nobody was going to these, which like totally makes sense. You're learning from them anyways. If you want to, all you got to do is go up to their booth. So, you know, probably cut out things like that. You know, there's certainly other operational things that I am have already set up for next year to be smoother. So as far as like communication, I was a little all over the place. Part of that just goes with like, building as we go.
Sure.
But definitely streamlining certain things. As far as like, the operational things like getting electric, setting up, we'll have Wi-Fi options next year.
Yay!
So setting stuff up like that. I want to make it easier for larger companies to set up, because their setup times take up so long. So just being more specific about like getting there will be a little more things in my control as far as like getting things to specific booths next year, like first in the morning, things like that. As far as, what to do next year, just understand, like, I think like going into the first few years, you thought this might be a cool event, but you didn't understand what people would get the most out of. And
No.
I think focusing on the community aspect is that's the strength. That's one of the strengths. And then so keep continuing that, new products and et cetera, new products and things that you just need to try. I will say just like focus on those two things, is kind of the big thing. And then like the live podcasts, I think like that also, like the attendance was low for those because like you're busy doing other things. Like I definitely think I have an area that we can do like one-off podcasts.
Yeah.
Because you have such an awesome group, you might as well try and get some interviews.
Oh yeah.
So I think we'll continue to do that, but it won't be with like a, maybe an audience of 10, or maybe you have to sign up beforehand, something like that. So
that's partly why I did mine. Well, I mean, the show was at the time the show was at, but I didn't even expect to have an audience. My show was basically for people who weren't there.
Right.
And I think there's, unless you've got like a big draw, I can't see people leaving the reason they came to come watch people sit down and talk.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just think that's
like, we also don't want to get away from like these companies that come, they're the heroes. Like they're the ones that are, bringing in thousands of pounds of equipment, driving from across country, putting up employees in hotels.
Mayhem
like
came from California.
Yeah, they're the ones that deserve the attention. So we don't want to take that away from them. And
I mean, like I said, that's one of the ideas I had that's a little different. I'm going to talk to you about. I don't even know if it's possible to do it, but I know it's possible to do it, but I don't know if it's the right time to do it yet. But I had an idea for that. And I'll tell you about it. So there's a tease for everybody else. So if it works, you guys will find out about it. If you don't, this never happened. Let's see. I already got my tickets purchased. I bought them 2 days ago. But I know people who bought theirs before I did even. So number one, let's tell everybody how to get tickets to HomeGymCon 2025. And is there still an early bird discount?
Yep. So if you go to Instagram, click in the link in bio at HomeGymCon Instagram, hit the link in bio. You'll see tickets to 2025. It's kind of like the before we get a logo sale. So we had prices for very low prices during the weekend. Like, hey, if you want to buy, go for it. And then also, sorry, I got caught reading the comments. So we had anyways, since the weekend, we've raised it a few bucks, but I think they're like $23.99 for a day pass, and then maybe like $48.99, something in that area right now. And then I think we'll steadily raise that throughout the year. Probably in price would be like $39.99 for a day pass, and maybe $76.99 for a weekend pass. And then right now, still trying to figure out what an upgrade package looks like. So you'll have the ability to add some sort of upgrade with whatever that early access, and then some sort of extra activity. I don't think it probably won't be like 2 dinners. We'll probably limit it to 1, just gathering, do some awards, and let everybody be.
I actually wanted to go to the dinner, but I had a whole ordeal that I had to deal with, which is why I had to get out of there. And as it turned out, I mean, I might as well stay for dinner with the way things went. Well, because I was driving and I missed my turn. So it added like 2 hours to my trip. So had I just stayed for dinner, I mean, okay. Like, okay, I might have just driven straight. I would have got home about the same time. So let me so I'll put that banner back up in a second, but I want to hit some of these comments here because Andrew said that seminars have higher attendance than the live podcasts. Mixing in more of those on the schedule may add extra value to ticket holders. So one thing I know that they do at the Arnold is you buy your tickets for just the expo, right? But then you can also purchase tickets to go to like I think it's like Breakfast with Arnold or something like that. And then there's seminars you can pay a little extra money to go to. I'm not suggesting you do like something like that in terms of like adding like an extra fee, but I think that the difference is that those are not held necessarily during the Arnold. So, for example, that night, like after the Arnold, there'll be like Arnold typically ends around 4. So then like about 5 o'clock, there's a seminar and you can go to it if you really want to. And it's just, a condensed thing, small group, you go in, you ask your questions. And then same thing with, I think they do that at the Olympia as well, where they'll have the seminar and it's at a different. So it may be like a breakfast. I think that there's an opportunity because there's no breakfast. People can basically have breakfast on their own, then they go to go down and check out the workouts thing. So I think there's an opening there because there's nothing else going on. Everybody's going to want to eat anyway, right? Yeah. So there's potential there. I'm not sure how much potential there is in this one, but you've got 1 vote for Hawaii in 2026. All right.
Yeah, I can imagine you can probably like count Rogue out and Red.
Oh yeah.
You're getting all those things, getting all that equipment to
shipping
Hawaii. Yeah.
Oh my God. Then it says Joey Echeverria, who went ahead. We said we're gonna eat dinner at the same. He was gonna sit at my table. He sat at my table. Joey said he bought his tickets Friday morning before. So he bought his tickets Friday morning for next year. No, he bought his tickets for next year Friday morning before he finished checking in. All right. Let's see. And Michael Vaudre, shout out to the setup and teardown crews.
They were all, and I with that, Michael, thank you for that. So I also want to say like the people that we worked with this year, they are also approved for Louisville, and we're going to be able to work with them as well this year as far as like booth setup. So we have somebody who can kind of help keep that same vibe. And then, they were a very nice crew. I think that crew, myself, the French Lick Resort had no idea how much stuff was coming. And we just weren't quite prepared. And they never complained. And there were a few run-ins, but like, and just some like learning examples that were given to me, but you know, really appreciated them, and they're going to help us out next year as well. There was just like more equipment, and then also so much trash. Did you see the like cardboard boxes piled up? That was also something like nobody really expected. So it took some extra employees staying longer than expected, and so yeah, definitely shout out to the setup and tear down.
When I walked in Thursday, I was like, "What in the world is going on here?"
We got a lot of work to do before Friday morning.
Oh boy. So here's some more ideas. I'm not sure what kind of legs. So all right, we'll just start with this. So this, yeah, exactly. So so Matt went to the Arnold in the UK, and he said it was $50 for the Arnold seminar, which happened at nighttime. And if you pay an extra $750, you met Arnold and got a photo with him. I mean, I grant you that's Arnold. Okay, so
yeah, like I mean, what would be
I'm not talking about that.
What would be a good home gym example of a good seminar?
There isn't one.
Yeah.
Heck, Arnold, he's got a home gym. He started out working out in a home gym, and I literally just saw a picture of his home gym on EsquireMagazine.com. So there you go. But I just don't feel like Arnold's going to be at HomeGymCon yet. One day.
That's when you know you made it. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I don't think this idea has any legs, but $30 for a seminar with me. Sure. I appreciate the vote of confidence, Matt. Oh, okay. Now he's up the ante. He said $30 for a seminar with me and $200 meet and greet. You know, I'm not gonna throw cold water on your idea. And if anybody wants to pay $30 to meet me, I'm taking money. Now there we go. Here we go. Keith has got an idea. Can we help next year with setup and teardown?
Yeah, let's chat, Keith.
I'm taking help. Yeah,
I already talked with Jameson.
Jameson is such a
everywhere.
Man, he's a legend. That dude helped everybody.
I'm gonna try and get him something.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, but Jameson was up at 2 a.m. helping bridge build. When they got
just like an insane helper. So I've already chatted with Jameson. We're gonna try and get him something a little more official. I don't know how we reward him, but yeah, he did it from the good of his heart as well. So yeah, we can look into that, Keith.
Okay.
Let's chat in 6 months or so.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. And Mike says that once Arnold comes once, you know he'll be back. He does promise he'll be back. Yeah. This might actually be interesting. A DIY seminar with Kyle, Mike, and Peach. That might be interesting. But like, didn't he build something in the first year? He built that little moving deadlift thing or whatever. Like right there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And Keith needs to turn wrenches to get that grip strength up. Shots fired. Okay. All right. Well, Jake, man, I appreciate you being here. If you guys have any final questions, go ahead, throw them in there real quick. But I promise not to keep Jake too long. I know the dude is tired because heck, I'm tired.
I'm good.
And you guys are so for one thing, this is my deload week. So when I'm on deload week, I normally don't take any pre-workout, right? And I normally take pre-workout before the show. So no pre-workout, but then when the next segment, the final segment, I'm going to talk about my HomeGymCon experience. I guess I can just tell you too, but it's like it was an event. Because what happened is all right, so I get there and it was cool. Like I said, shout out to Tim for helping me out all weekend. It definitely felt like a family reunion. So I get there Thursday. Jameson helped me get everything out of the car.
Yeah,
he helped everybody, so he helped me too. That's actually how I even knew that he helped bridge build, because he said he had help with something else, and then the next day he told me he helped bridge build as well. And then Friday I was nervous because I didn't know if anybody was going to show up. because I already arranged with Ash. I knew she would be there. I know that Jonathan would join remotely, but I knew you were busy, and everybody else, I kind of like just last minute say, hey, because originally I was like, okay, we'll do it a different way. But then I said, wait a minute, I need to give people times because I've pictured like everybody showing up at the same time and then all just leaving. So I wasn't sure how that was going to go. Then I get my footage and got my deadlift. I had to get a deadlift 1 rep max. That was Friday. So let's just skip ahead to what happened Saturday. All right. So because I tried to use Wi-Fi and we tried to use Kurt's Wi-Fi, it didn't work. So because I couldn't do that, I ended up recording everything, right? And we recorded it in 3 segments. So we recorded everything before they went outside. Then Tim went outside and recorded everything that was outside. Then we recorded once they came back inside. So it's 3 videos, right? So when the competition is over, I go upstairs, which involved carrying, I don't know if you saw my computer. Well, when I had everything set up. So all of that was downstairs. The setup I had when you came and did the show.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That was all downstairs. So we get done. Now we got to carry a lot of that stuff back upstairs because they have better Wi-Fi up there, right? And so I grabbed Jared Freeman. So shout out to Jared Freeman. And I grabbed some random people, say, hey, I need your help. Let's carry this stuff upstairs, right? Including my wire reel so I can plug into the Ethernet. Okay. Go upstairs. Then I'm rendering everything. And it was going to take me, it took over 2 hours to render 1 video because I was going to split it up so I could upload them separately, right? I said, if it's 2 hours to render 1 video, it's already 6 o'clock by now. And I'm like, okay, let's just go to the house. So I pack up everything, I head home, and I'm driving, and the GPS originally said I would get home at 1:25. I've been on the road for an hour. Rob from Vintage Weights texts me, hey man, you left your tablecloth here. What do you want? I was like, no. All right, so he said he'll ship it to me. We're good. Let's keep going. Somewhere along the way, I start getting sleepy. And I know I was like a mile from my exit. It said, okay, the exit's coming up. I fell asleep driving just long enough to miss the exit because I opened my eyes and it said, and the GPS is saying, okay, next exit 32 miles. 32 miles. I said, wait a minute, it was just 10 miles away. So now I'm driving 32 miles. Literally, there's not another exit, and I don't know, to this day, I don't know where I was.
Where were you?
I was just 32 miles from the next exit. All right. So I get to the exit. Thank God it's a truck stop. I pull over, and I'm like, we got to up the ante. So I got some of that stuff that's got like the red eyes on it, the bloodshot eyes, and you'll never sleep again. I
Venom or
some of that. Yeah, you'll never sleep again. All right. So I took some of that. I start going. David Dennis knew I was coming home. He owns Gorilla Strength Equipment.
Yeah.
So he messaged me wanting to know how the expo had gone, right? He said how things go for you, everything else, right? Because he's never been to HomeGymCon. So we end up talking on the phone. David stayed. That dude's a warrior. That dude stayed on the phone with me until I was maybe 5 miles from home. I got home at 3-something in the morning.
Awesome.
David stayed on the phone with me, talking to me. We talked about all kinds of stuff. All right, look. I think at some point I told David, man, you should write a book. He said, why? I said, give it to your grandkids, man. No, David doesn't have grandkids. Okay. He's got a daughter who's 8. He's got a son who's got a fiance. So his kids don't have kids. So I told him, I think I tried to convince him to write a book for the grandkids that don't exist yet. At some point, that's just to show you how the conversation went. Anyway, I get home, and then I was like, hey, I'm home anyway. So I stayed up, I rendered all the videos, decided to make it into one video. And then I uploaded it, to YouTube. And then I went to sleep, took a nap, woke back up, and then I edited the videos that published this past week so that I could upload them and schedule them because and then I went to work for my night shift, 12-hour night shifts. So I still don't think I'm as tired as you are. But I know I was tired this past week. I was just like,
I bet you are. Yeah.
I was like, man. So, yeah. Matt says I was chugging a can of. Matt says I was chugging a can of rattlesnake venom. There you go. Hey, look who's here? Round of applause, Jameson. Yeah, you're just the legend we were talking about. Mike says thanks, Jake, for a great event. I don't know what this is. It says Coop Moore.
There's 2 comments. Is Coop more inclined to go?
Oh, okay. I don't have his phone number. I got no idea. I let me say this because I don't want to be snarky. It would be awesome if he decided to go.
For sure.
Let's just say it like that. Rory said to bring some smelling salts on your next long drive. I'm sure it would work to keep me awake, but then I wouldn't be able to see because my eyes would be like watered or whatever. So that'd be exciting. I said Jared Freedom. Jared Martin. I said Jared Freeman because that's his Instagram handle. But yeah, Jared helped me carry stuff upstairs. Now he's got a question. Okay. Do you think promoting this to local gyms will be effective to get a bigger crowd, or would a gym owner think we're trying to pull people to home gyms? I'm gonna let you answer this, Jake, but the thing is that I don't see I don't see the interest. Like, why would I recognize that there are some people who belong to public gyms who buy like barbells to take to the public gym, and then they ask the gym owner to lock it up, which I think is silly. But I know people who do that. And as for the gym owners themselves, I mean, maybe if it was right there, but you said you're not really into that walk-up traffic, right?
Yeah, I think I still think quality over quantity is very important. So I definitely think I think gym owners would get almost as much value at least smaller gym owners would get almost as much value going to HomeGymCon as just your standard home gym owner, because they don't join the community quite as quickly, but they get their hands on so many different pieces of equipment that
right.
So I think gym owners, and then I did do some outreach to over the past few years to local gyms in the area, within driving distance. And I did get a ton of luck. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, because they already have Ursa. They've got a bunch of different. They got FIBO. They've got the Fit Expos. They got the Idea Summit. They got Perform Better. There are tons of events for gym owners. Literally tons. Because I attended some of them when I worked at a public gym. I would go there because I was in charge of the weight room area. And it was, so we would go look at what we wanted or whatever. And it wasn't necessarily the specific equipment. It's more well, what kinds of things do we want? What's out there or whatever. So, there's a question. Want to know what you took home from the event? Did you get anything?
I got that amazing ATX HomeGymCon bar.
Okay.
So that, and then Titan gave me a pair of their new collars. And there was one other thing, but I didn't take home too much. I didn't take home I wasn't going around asking the booths for stuff like a few people did. Kyle came home with just mass thousands and thousands worth of equipment.
Nice.
And I can't imagine how much Coop would have taken home.
Oh boy,
they would have taken home so much stuff for review, specifically from ATX. So there would have been a ton of value there as well. So
heck yeah.
But yeah, most of the content creators, as long as they were going around and just asking and could take it home, got quite a bit.
Yeah, I got some things, and then people also, there's some stuff that people said they were going to send me, because there was some of the stuff that was there again with prototypes. So people were saying to me hey, we're gonna send you the prototype, kind of waited out, sent those plates to Jonathan and to some other people to check out. They're like, hey, we'll send this to you so you can check it out. Give us some feedback, whatever. So there was some of that. Let's see. We're gonna scroll through these real fast. So Jared says the reason he asked is because he's in Louisville and he's down to drive around and hand out flyers. So
I mean, it wouldn't hurt. It doesn't hurt, but yeah, I think the gym owners, I don't know how friendly they would be in terms of like passing these out or putting these on the window or whatever.
Let's see. Jameson says, I encourage people to get some GPP via helping people unload and set up. Loading Kyle's truck was quite a project. Yeah, there's already been a couple people volunteer before you jumped in, Jameson. They're gonna so I guess your blanket response, Jake, is hit me up in 6 months and we'll start talking about
volunteer opportunities. Yeah.
And Eric said he gave Matt his entire royalty check back plus some. And this is actually a good question. Not that one. There we go. Was there a new booth or company that impressed you this year?
New booths that impressed me. ATX definitely stood out. They had some of the most innovative equipment there for sure. I thought, Ryan and Liz from Stronger Grip had a unique setup that really caught people's eyes, and their energy was great. Let's see who else was new. I thought Titan had a pretty good booth, and they had like 5 products that they were also prototyping that they brought in and had people check out. Oh, I mean, there's like, I could name so many. Let's see who else. As far as like standout booths,
Joey said ATX was his standout.
Yeah, they won that Rookie of the Year award, and well deserved.
Definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, man, this was a lot of fun. You hung out with me. We're gonna give a shout out to the West Coast, and then we'll shut this thing down. I appreciate you being here, man. As always, if you ever want to come back on, to just all you gotta do is hit me up, say, hey, I got something else going on. I want to keep getting the word out there about this because I do see the value for this for our community. I think this is the sort of thing, like I know I've told you multiple times, but this is the sort of thing I would have jumped at when I was like a home gym owner, maybe 4 years into this, because I was really, I don't even know if I was necessarily looking for the community as much as I was asking a lot of questions like, well, where do I find this? Where do I find that? And I remember asking like the most random people, like, oh, how do I get this? So I'm looking for this specific piece of equipment. And it would have just been awesome to have something like this. So I think this is something that is invaluable for our community. And I hope it just continues to grow. One more. So Rory said the Titan Lazy Susan rotating vertical barbell holder was awesome. Can't wait to get his hand on that. And I mean, I'm not a fan of Titan. I make no secret of that. But I was impressed by how much they've engaged with the community, because it goes back to what we said earlier. The companies that engaged with the community were the ones that had traffic. Yeah. You couldn't just put up a booth and then people just run flocking to you, because quite frankly, think about it. Like, I'm not naming any names, but there are multiple companies that had a power rack with a functional trainer attachment or something, maybe a landmine attachment, and they're just standing there and nothing's going on, right? Because everybody else had a power rack with a functional trainer, landmine attachment, or something like that, right? So why should I come to you? Oh, well, you've got your new bumper plates. Well, why should I come to you? Everybody's got their new bumper plates, right? Yeah. The difference was, do I have a relationship built in with you? Do I feel like you're actually part of our community? Do I have like a connection with you? Because people like to spend money with people that they know, like, and trust. So yeah, I think it's a great thing. Do you have anything you want to add before we close up? You get the final word.
No, I don't think so. I think we covered quite a bit.
Okay. All right, man. Well, once again, man, I appreciate you being here, and definitely we'll have you come back on when we get a little bit closer. We get more details, especially about the hotel information and stuff like that. All right.
Sounds good. Appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Take it easy.
All right. Bye.
All right, bye. All right. So that was the man himself, Jake Jaworski. And I hope you guys will use that link. Go to HomeGymCon on Instagram, click the link in bio, and go and grab your ticket if you have not already, because I already got mine. And spread the word with other home gym owners. I know that there's a lot of push, maybe to get people from, like to just get more people in there. But again, this is something that's for us. There are plenty of events like the Arnold, the Fit Expos, where people who are just into fitness can go. And this is the one thing that's specifically for us. That may not mean a lot to people if you've only been a home gym owner for a couple of years, but I'm saying if you've been a home gym owner for a long time, like I have, you see how special this is. And I just love having something that feels like a family reunion every time I go to it. I appreciate all you guys for joining us today. I'm going to go ahead, because we're running short on time. I'm going to push the home gym channels you've never heard of and some of the other segments we didn't get to do. I'm going to push them till next week. And next week, I am trying to, I'm going to see if I can get my man Tim on to see if he can, if he wants to talk about this firestorm that he created with Tim. With Coop. So that should be interesting. So you guys tune in, stay tuned for that. Go ahead, hit like, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you for being here.